10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Radiant team
两手
ban.
是连抢带ban，因为电源绝手在 T1 这个比赛当中选的也很多。
我感觉老干爹会选那个，会选 PA。
哦，打
马
风女还不
PA。
错。
对，
确实是他们之前用过的一个体系啊。
对，
小组赛用过一局。
PA 现在上场其实就比较的低，因为他这个英雄还是在没有猛犸 buff 的情况下偏刷的时间比较久。
基本上没有队伍使用吧，就对线能力也不强。对，对线能力也不强，容易给对手打魔棒，进野区。也刷的不快，对，就算刷起来，其实这个就没有 BKB 之前也很容易被秒，没有暗灭狂战，可能输出也不太够。
大树这个英雄也被ban了，前面我们也是说到，大树这个英雄 T1 还是非常重视的。
所以猛犸正好是弥补了 PA 在这方面所欠缺一些点嘛，
对，只要刷到
PA 的一些效率。
主要是它的 farm 效率和一个等级的提升 ，PA 最主要就是18级砍18级3大招那个点嘛，对不对？你刚好成型的时候有18级，那时候你无敌了。
再加上萧瑟的 PA， 我看他的这个爆率还是蛮高的，人品比较不错。
是的，
脸比较白。
一般长得帅的人爆率都高嘛，对吧？你不爆的话，你可能要想想自己有什么问题。
他们之前小组赛如果选到蚂蚁的话，可能会在另外一手辅助上会点掉一手比较带控的，像莱恩这种。刚刚也是狗哥也说，他们这个队伍非常喜欢使用莱恩。
对他这一把的话，看情况，他这一把需要一个前排的肉，且控制应该是前排了。他远程的话，这把雷昂他倒不是到，这把拿雷昂的话，他可能那个
有点脆。
对，整体这种感觉有点护不住。对。
先选了一手军团指挥官。
军团的前排控制。
One against the Dragonite, all these are strength heroes.
Radiant team pick.
Crystal Maiden.
Legion Commander picked up, so that means the spell mechanic, you're trying to find a way to amplify your carry, and it's exactly what Legion Commander does.
Yeah, it's a good way to save always versus the Magnus if you're in position. The CM, they go for it. Again, I saw them pick it a couple times. You know, they really liked it with the tree, but most of the time I picked the CM, it's because they were lacking some type of like a brute. You know, some type of like hard disable versus an Ember Spirit or somebody that's just this elusive carry. This one's a little different, but they really like the hero.
Is there any use for the Arcane Aura here that you see?
Fantastic. Yeah, absolutely. All three are great. I mean, CM Aura is always. I don't think anybody's been like, man, what a bad CM Aura.
Sure, but you pick it up on like a bristleback and you go, oh wow, this is a combo, right? You usually like Smon. Is there anything here you're like, I can abuse this Arcane Aura?
Yeah, for Lina especially. In this game, she consumes so much mana. Lina is one of the heroes that I don't think she moves from a lane to lane unless she's full mana. She just prefers to stay, farm the small camp, push out the wave so that you can't gank her, and she's always sitting at like 10-15% of mana. So this time around, we might see Lina do a bit more. You know, she relies heavily on picking up the runes, so we're gonna see some movements. We were one of the better heroes to control the runes for, because we can get easily from the lane to the top rune possibly. And Bane, this hero has been amazing. Fog, I mean, you and me talk a lot about the Bane. But yeah, go ahead.
We were just waiting at group stages. I think me and you were like, where the hell is Bane? Like, what's going on? Why is no one picking it? Now we get to the main event. We get to, like, everybody's picking it. It's amazing. I think this hero was extremely undervalued in the group stages. I think even in Feeble, every single thing about this hero is insane now. BKB piercing, disable, you could list off a million things. Nobody can fight toe-to-toe with you. And versus Legion Commander duel, bam! You get that nightmare off. You can completely counteract it unless you are, sure, you know, press the attack first and whatnot. Sure, there's some other things that can go on, but always a great save mechanic. I'm worried about team fight on T1, I gotta be honest, a little bit in comparison.
So what could they do to mitigate it? Is there any carry that you think that would bring enough team fight here to cover this weakness, or should they just concentrate on their strengths and try to push hard that way?
I think they should concentrate on fast-paced kind of draft, just not really looking to play around these cooldowns, but I'm not sure what the 23 hero is at the moment yet for that.
They ban out Medusa, makes a lot of sense. His comfort hero, and also relatively strong laner. A couple of ways to buff him up, and it's not a good illusion type of a game, I would say. PL is out of this game. You're playing into Magnus, into Dragonite, too much splash, too much AoE damage, but I'm also worried. You said there is no team fight. There's a lot of single target abilities on T1. and they don't have that much burst damage. Lina provides you with some. She can play with the Legion Commander, but I'm a bit afraid this double, I'll call it a budget save with Cookie and the Nightmare could cause a lot of issues for T1.
I'm always worried when they don't have great reach to get into the back as well. When I see like a Bane and I don't see you having the greatest ways to actually stop the Fiend's Grip, I'm always concerned. Like right now, who's going to have to commit into the back line to stop that? Legion Commander has to either be in position to press the attack, save the person, or Lina has to commit herself to get that Sun. Or, like, it's just really difficult for them to actually get to this Bane that's gonna have position to get Fiend's Grip in a lot of fights.
T1 is in a tough position where you are picking your carry without knowing the matchup, and also you're playing into two magic, piercing and magic immune abilities. You have RP and Bane, so you're never gonna feel super safe playing into a fight.
Oh, Benny got the Bloodseeker too. So what, is Weaver gonna be carry then?
With that, given the fast pace that you were talking about, and you could pick up some team fight as well here, maybe with the 4 position?
I guess it could. I'm a little worried because they do have that DK hard, hard stun. Bane's animations are so fast now versus a hero like Weaver. It can be really difficult to play around. But like if he gets an early Lincolns, that could be something that can protect him. That's something I've seen a couple players do now. Sure, there's a lot of different instances that Bane can cancel it, but
They're not worried though. They saw that and they still ban out another carry. It's just Lark.
Yeah, that makes sense too. When the Bloodseeker's banned out, that's the other one that doesn't want to play versus Bloodseeker at all.
Is there anything that you can, like, can you pretend, because you don't have last pick, right? You can't really flex anything that could go for and carry much like the Weaver, right? So you kind of have to show your hand here. And it's going to be a Morphling, a 23 Savage Special.
Okay.
Some diverse damage here as well, right? That we've been talking about. Something to deal with the DK. A lot of single target now, but still lacking that team frame.
It's a good PL game now for Psg.Lgd. Any kind of mana burn, they really lack AoE. Legion Commander is decent to one extent with overwhelming odds. Other than that, these heroes, they really do not like to play into PL.
Morphling too. There's a lot of burst damage that what I assume is going to be, it could potentially be either offlaner. It's going to be either DK or Magnus plus Snapfire. I've seen these Snapfires when you're laning versus Morphling. You go Scatter Blast 2 points early so you can try to get those like quick kills on him in the laning phase. Also, Morphling versus Breathe Fire, that's percent damage reduction versus high agi, and there's Enfeeble in the game. Enfeeble, I think something is also is an ability that's extremely undervalued. I think versus a hero like Morphling, it could be pretty brutal.
Because of the cast point reduction, right?
Yes, cast point reduction and also attack damage reduction, health regen reduction too when you're trying to strength morph. You can't do it as good versus Bane too, and they're going to get Ame on his Terrorblade.
So, closing thoughts here about the drafts. Fogged first. Strengths and weaknesses you can see about, let's say, Psg.Lgd.
T1, for Psg.Lgd, they have a super well-rounded draft, scales into the late game absurdly hard, also works really strong early game because they have various different types of push and ways to take objectives. I think they've hit everything on the head for the side of Psg.Lgd.
Give me some strengths for T1.
T1, they have Crystal Maiden Aura, so these support and Legion Commander, of course, Lina, will benefit quite a lot from that, so that will allow them to cast a bit more spells in the laning stage, play a bit more aggressively, but I gotta say I'm leaning towards Psg.Lgd. Whenever I see their lineup, I'm like, this lineup does not have any weaknesses.
Well, we know where the draft panel is leaning towards, but we need to know what to look out for. And that is why on the sidelines we have BSJ waiting for us with his last word.
Thank you, Dr. BSJ. Suns fan here with Cinderin. We have quite the matchup here. Mike, great to be with you as always. LGD versus T1, you're supposed to...
Oh, I'm finishing your sentences.
Sentences, that's right.
Yes.
T1, this is going to be quite the showdown. T1, of course, got off to a bit of a rough start in the group stage, but have bounced back looking a lot like they did back in the Animajor. And, of course, LGD virtually untouchable.
Yep.
Do you think that this is going to be what everybody hopes it to be, which is a 3-game series?
I'll be honest with you, I think LGD are just such a strong favorite coming in. Like when you have a group stage where you go 15-1, aren't you kind of supposed to be 2-0 in the first game of the upper bracket, almost no matter who you face from the other group, right? A team that's 10-6 or 11 and... Let's do some math here. 11-5.
You're doing
there we
great.
Go.
Keep it up.
Like whatever stats you have, when there's just that gap. When there's a 15-1 team, it's basically a team that's playing more or less flawless. And even though both teams start in the upper bracket, I do think LGD with a clear are the clear favorites here. I will say though, a team like T1 has this ability, especially later on in tournaments. We talked about this during the group stage when we were casting them. They're a little bit slow starters sometimes.
Yeah.
And they ramp up a lot and get that momentum. And we've seen them get some really good placements at major international tournaments this year. I could definitely see them take a game or even the series, but you need to play 100% today to beat this team. LGD just have been looking incredible. The one game they dropped was against Team Secret, and look how they played yesterday against OG.
Yep.
That was no joke. Absolutely rolled them, especially in game number 2. So it's very, very telling. As far as the strategies go, can't say too much here. It's way too surprising. I think the teams are largely sticking to their identities, especially LGD getting solid team fight, a clear late game winning condition, and the ability to fight and sustain their lanes. It's kind of, if you want to break down Dota in a simple way, there's like 3 things you want your compositions to have right. It's laning prowess, it's some sort of catch and way to start fights, and some sort of way of ending the game. And then, okay, maybe let's say 4. You also want to be able to take Roche, right?
Right.
And it feels like they have everything. The biggest weakness is probably the ability to take Roche, but you still have at least the Snapfire, Little Shredder, plus Terrorblade with Empower. So you can get it done.
Yep, that's very true. Keep in mind, if you are watching on Twitch, I was told by my good friend Buka that cheering is now enabled. So you just hover your mouse and you hold the button for as long as you want. And a cheer explodes afterwards, Cinderin. Very good stuff. Expecting that top area to be lit up the entire game as a result of adding so many people.
There's one thing I know about Twitch chat. It is that if there's anything you can click, they will click.
That's
and again,
true.
And then again, and then again.
The analytics don't lie. A lot of people are clicking. We had to like triple the servers to be able to withstand the clicking. But nothing to say. We'll be mid on the Davian, aka Dragon Knight, versus Carl's Lina. This is kind of I want to say a bit of an old school match. We don't see Dragon Knight as often mid anymore, but what are your thoughts on this going forward for the laning stage?
It seemed like a specific response pick, right? I would think this is a lane that Lina does well in, especially after the nerfs to Dragon Blood. I think Dragon Knight fared better if you go back. What's that now? That nerf was like 2 months ago or whatever. But specifically because LGD picked it into the Lina like this, I would imagine they do feel like this is one of the better matchups. Obviously, Lina kind of doesn't lose to anyone mid.
Yeah.
So it's about, okay, what hero can we get that fits our game plan that also doesn't suffer too hard? And I think Dragon Knight is one of the heroes that does better, but would still expect just theoretically Carl to come out on top in this lane. But we'll see.
Definitely has a better ability to flash farm and whatnot, but the issue with that is if you go to the jungle, then Dragon Knight could do considerable amount of damage to the tower. But we've been seeing a lot of that into the off lane or the safe lane, like basically not mid. The DK will just transition to another lane as well. So we'll see what they choose to do this time for Psg.Lgd. Gotten to cast a few games of T1, but mostly our cast of T1.
Oh, Nightmare bottom. Zephyr could actually be in trouble here.
The reflection is there with the right clicks with that Metamorphosis. He gets off his Swarm, press the attack, does give him a little bit extra HP, and will live as a result. But T1, good to see them kind of bouncing back after that first day of group stage, because a lot of high hopes for them, especially in the SCA region. They played out of their minds at the Animajor, but it felt like after that, they were kind of a hit or a miss. They weren't as consistent as we were hoping. Of course, part of that could be the fact that they qualified for TI and whatnot, but good to see that they bounced back here. But again, they are against the juggernaut of this, and not just their group, but the entire TI right now in Psg.Lgd.
Yeah. I'm trying to think back. the last couple of years of TI where it has felt like there's been that clear of a favorite after the groups. I'm not sure if that was the case.
LGD was 1 year, but they didn't win. They got third place, I believe. We're going to see a skewer here from Faith Beyond. 𝙈𝘆𝘆 in quite a bit of trouble. I think he's resigned to his own death here, but 𝙎𝙊𝘾𝙄𝘼 might get right-clicked down by 23Savage as well. Looks like it'll end up being likely a trade of sorts as Faith Beyond just needs a couple more right-clicks with that shockwave. So 1 for 1, but first blood is the way of T1.
Yeah. Goes to the Crystal Maiden, is going to grab the boots and maybe a little bit extra regen here, heading back into lane to help out 23Savage. So yeah, a nice little head start for them up in the top lane. I think overall still though, Magnus is thriving. This is a very good lane matchup for Magnus. At least in the beginning, Magnus just has overwhelming damage. Even when Morph is pretty far into the agility, he just hits so hard with the Quelling Blade plus Empower bonus. Oh, they might kill Savage here almost.
𝙎𝙊𝘾𝙄, now he's gonna turn this around on 𝙎𝙊𝘾𝙄. Waveform, couple more right clicks, down he goes again.
Uncharacteristic. I could see what he was going for there. Thought he had the burst, but then the punish is just so easy for T1 there. That's very, very good news for them in that top lane. The kill going to 23Savage as well will almost equalize him with the Magnus now.
And nothing to say in the mid lane is 20-7 in terms of CS, and the other side 17-2 for 𝙈𝙁. So nothing to say, doing really well.
I mean, I may just be wrong about the matchup. I don't know.
Nothing to say is a god.
Well,
right.
I think 𝙈𝙁's laning on Lina in general has been really good though. So I haven't watched the lane super closely this game, but just in general across the games he has played Lina, he generally does what he's supposed to do. So perhaps 𝙎𝙬𝑑 have found a hero here in this patch that can win against Lina.
Dragon, no, there's going to be a considerable amount of damage from nothing to say. There's no real rotations coming in, so I don't think a kill is able to happen as 𝙈𝙁.
Oh, missing that LSA could have almost killed him. He needed one more hit and then Soul Ring into Breathe Fire. There is a Fairy Fire on 𝙈𝙁, but yeah, nothing to say is honestly kind of bullying the Lina. I can't believe I'm saying that.
Not something you see every day.
Maybe my read on the matchup's just wrong.
𝙎𝙊𝘾𝙄 trying to backstab here, but 𝙈𝙁 on his way to the triangle here to pick up that bound. Okay, yeah, Y makes a nice transition.
He's gonna kill him here.
Yeah, the Nightmare with the right clicks. It looks like Zephyr. Oh, he does have one more 𝙎𝙬𝘃.
Why misclick
gonna find
there?
his way close to 𝙎𝙊𝘾𝙄. Just does not see him thanks to the Fox, so gets off the health sound, but
I think Y did attack ground and hit the Weaver bug once instead of the Weaver there. Needed that one extra attack, so that failed attack will send Weaver back to base instead of the Grave. It's still good, obviously, and this mid pressure is mounting very quickly.
Yeah, just the forced out just allows the Dragon form to apply all that pressure that we kind of talked about to that tower. So already at half HP, and 𝙈𝙁, I mean, he's losing mid, but not by an astronomical amount by any means. But the fact that it's even that point is crazy, considering it's a DK versus Lina.
He's
going to connect. Cuckoo, he's done. So Psg.Lgd evens it up in terms of the kills, but you can see there's still a 1K net worth lead for them.
I mean, you say you're not losing by an astronomical amount, but you're a lane dominator and you're 500 gold behind minute 6. This feels like a big loss to me.
Is that astronomical, though?
I don't know. The universe is very big.
Yes.
So
they
probably right. It's just a...
I just want to mention that Twitch chat is starting to fail a bit. The top is not glowing as much as I would like. Could you please correct that? Thank you. Really appreciate that. We can see the top net worth right now is 𝙈𝘆𝑚 on this terribly. How is this game looking for him in terms of like a theory crafting, just as a TB game overall?
I would say...
蚂蚁先过来了吗？霍伦支援一拳到位的老奶奶不在啊，后面龙骑士被反打一套，魔棒吃过了，被带走，这样霍伦支援自己也有危险。火女是一个装备服输出非常高，还要再往前追吗？这么凶！冰女还有没有技能？吃了芒果，冰封禁制呢？这样火女过来光机刃加普攻，完成了3杀。
哇，这一波其实是他们的一个3打1打1打1，因为老干爹第一时间双酱油没有捏在一块儿，龙骑士端完之后，老奶奶第一时间不在，所以没有能够把自己的控制链给他续上。
对，所以我觉得刚才就是他们配合沟通出现失误了。我以为龙骑上去要端的时候，老奶奶和霍伦支援，尤其是老奶奶肯定要到位了。
对，
但结果发现旁边第一时间到位是一个霍伦支援。
是的。这一波第一时间没到位，而第一时间对方的双酱油全部到位了。
啊，本身刚才那波3杀之前是老干爹一个3路油，
现在龙骑士再来端一下这个火女， 再消耗一波。火女其实被这个龙骑士消耗挺烦的啊，
他3级火。
是的。
找到了一个火女睡了一下，这里新 Q 是 A 的早了一点，这里军团下来之后决斗龙骑士，火女没什么状态，但还有一个光击阵的蓝好像也够杀了。
血炸，龙骑士连断2波节奏，而火女本来是经济在6个大哥里面垫底的，通过这一波双倍服的3杀以及中路再杀一次龙骑，已经是拉开了经济差了，并且龙骑士的这个变龙节奏爆炸了。好，龙骑士这个英雄，他变龙节奏打这个丽娜的话，是要在5到6分钟的时候，他回去灌服或者灌屏的这个时候，去消耗对方塔的这个血量的。然后第2波就要用来把这个塔推掉的，但是他好像是并没有 A 到塔，
对，
没 A 到塔，自己还死了2次，炸了这个。而且上路其实水人猛犸是管不住的，他虽然有个支配怪可以2个一起补刀，或者说用这个野怪来勾兵，但他完全限制不了这个水人的正补。
他出了支配，只是说能跟水人线上打，互相发育打互肥了。
对，这相当于就是在给2-3 就互相养怪物，好吧？这个猛犸可能后面也会是个怪物，但水人让我感觉更加的可怕。
对。
因为这一盘对面法术输出还挺多的，有个丽娜的技能，有个冰女的技能，包括水人等会儿出了个虚灵刀之后，那 TB 就会变得比较危险。
这波老干爹双将过来是踩了对方的眼，先被冰封禁制一下老奶奶做饼干，猛犸也在后面给上了一个冲击波，带走了酱油冰女，水人这个时候被网了一下，被顶了一手。方面自己有波浪形态也不是很慌，又变了一个老奶的神灭斩，还好外队这里水桶妖啊，吃了个魔棒。
这一波说实话，2-3 这个水人应该是什么重庆、四川那种地方的变态啦呀，变了个老奶奶，蹦一屁股坐过头了，然后开了霹雳铁肘 A 人没感觉。说实话是有点辣了啊，他可能没有想到这个老奶奶没有学1技能。习惯性的变老奶奶了，
对，想给一枪，
对。然后第2次变过来的时候，发现 CD 还没好，
臀肝没了。
从某种意义来说的话，刚刚那一波水人是属于有点空大的味道。
确实，他刚才可能看到冰女死那么快，有点慌啊。
现在这个前期节奏，萧瑟的经济一直排在第1，然后猛犸跟水人互肥，刚刚那一波打赢了，水人落后他个200块的兑现经济。不过又是一个这个问题，好吧？老干爹打完兑现总是双酱油很肥。有没有发现？
因为他们的大哥线上解放酱油能力很强呀。
是的。
然后双酱油就可以去做事，无论是游走也好，还是拉野也好，他总归都是对自己的经济有所提升的。
是的。
他不用说线上陪着大哥一直在那边死战线，只能拉个野。
这一盘虽然游走效率并不是特别的高，但是这个经济肯定就是慢慢囤也囤出来的。
对，我是觉得老干爹打到目前这个情况，他们这个阵容现在是2000经济领先，我觉得非常能接受，
非常能接受啊！说完变1000。
那差不多嘛，1900和2000没差多少啊，差那100不行。
现在1000都不到，他是小于1000刚刚，现在就是领先个1000块钱
啊。那算了，要低于100我可以补一下啊，我就垫了。
军团指挥官臂章也出来了，不过这个军团的话，它中期不一定是能够提到很多攻击力的那种军团，它主要的作用还是在于就那么一个在自己的2技能上面
强攻。
对。这一盘他们这个 BP， 说实话，我是感觉得到他们对于这个火女的一个重视程度。因为他们这个中单选手的话，火女是他，当然除了末日啊，最稳定的一个英雄，而且线上会给其他队伍他的对手很大的压力。比如说这一盘老干爹，他当然是想要让这个猛犸走中的。但是对方有个火女出来了之后，这个猛犸被迫的只能去走3，然后点了个龙骑。而莫言打龙骑，说实话，盘数和熟练度以及自己的一些判断，肯定没有他打猛犸来的强。所以中路那2波会出现自己断龙的一个节奏。
这波拉双野1波没拉出来，看到。下路霍乱之前交了大招 ，TB 没变身人形态，直接硬砍死。
没有任何的问题啊！霍乱之源这个大招拉的时间久。 而且当时这个军团指挥官是开臂章也不行，不开臂章也不行。对吧？开臂章这个拉的时间久，所以掉血也掉得多。
这波龙骑士还没跳到，看一下他们有线眼，
有线上
有真假眼来，要直接装吗？装住！看一下 PD 铁手被饼的猛犸大招，大波们 combo 伤害输出刚好够漂亮，秒了水人。老奶轰炮轰残了冰女，他还想要摇大招，兄弟！意大利炮。 你这身板扛不住呀！你加的是重甲。
这一波实际上T1是已经意识到了，他们的双酱油早就在侧面和这个塔后已经蹲着了，只不过这个水人是转的血量还不够高，因为他们应该是意识到这个龙骑士控了上路符在往上路走。火女待在三角区里面玩。 但他并没有视野，而且不知道有多少人在包他。
龙骑士这波跳还没拿到，拿到我估计留下了，
拿到留下了。因为跳桩之后
position to find himself in. Going for the standard Lina build here with travels into BKB. Like I talked about before, the concerns from Morph, they're kind of shared here with Lina, right? You get BKB, which you feel like you have to against some of this control of the Radiant side, including like Dragon Tail. But you're still susceptible to RP as well as Grip, so you can't. In some games, you can get this BKB on Lina and you feel like Superman, you know, for a while in these fights. It's just not going to be the case. You still need to keep your cool and maintain really strong positioning.
Radiant structures are fortified.
So, good news for T1 though, Cuckoo is about to get the dagger.
Well, bad news is that Psg.Lgd now have 2 daggers to work with.
Yep.
So expect them to ramp
As
it up
always,
even
you focus
more.
on the negatives. Thank you.
Well, that you could look at it as a positive for LGD. Why does that have to be a negative, Cinder?
That's actually very true.
Technically true, and technically is the best type of true.
That is, I love it.
Whoever said that is a genius.
Yep. That's probably me then.
Yeah. Ame working on, looks like he has the Falcon Blade Yasha, so Scotty looks to be next. Is there any reason to, I mean, is he skipping the Manta for now and just get it later? Actually, he probably has, maybe he is finishing Manta now. With just the recipe to go.
I think he's just gonna skip it. I think he gets Yasha as the value item here for farming speed, and you can. I don't think
it's
Manta
not much to dispel, so.
Yeah, exactly. It's not much to dispel. There's frostbite, but you're gonna play around that probably.
Oh, nothing to say. Spots the smoke, blinks in, gets the initiation. It's just Whitemon. So at the very least for T1, that's a silver lining.
Yeah, I need to get the hell out of there. Triangle gonna get dewarded now.
Yeah.
They are pinging that there should be a ward there. None of them have a sentry though. So, they have one on and nothing to say.
Yeah.
On the Dragon Knight, just checking both supports. But that was something they were talking about in the panel as well, right? That these players, LGD are pretty creative about how they distribute their wards. And that time around, I believe nothing to say gets it. Keep in mind as well, something that's been in the game since this entire change with getting gold for dewarding, it is the player placing the sentry that gets the gold here. And
that's true.
That obviously means if you're in a commanding position and you make a team move, you can funnel extra gold into your cores by letting them deward instead of having supports do it. So, depending on the circumstance, I think having sentries on, in theory, every hero in the backpack could actually be kind of cool, right? Because then whoever needs the gold the most can be given the gold at any given time. It might be something that LGD are taking more advantage of than other teams.
Yeah, that's definitely one of those changes that you, I mean, that was of note for that patch, but taking full advantage of it.
Sorry, I said the person that plays the ward, I meant the person who buys the ward. Right?
Cinder, everybody knows what you're saying is correct, okay? Yes. Even if what you say isn't.
But like, imagine this. Imagine in the game, every player buys one sentry, right?
Yeah.
You buy a sentry and you bring it with you. And then whenever you make a move, you can choose who gets the goal. I mean, it's kind of, it's like very, it's a very, very detailed play, so to say, but when you're on LGD's level and you min-max basically everything, you could see why they would do something like that. I do think it was his own sentry, right? It does display that nothing to say got the gold at least, so I do think he bought it.
4K net worth lead now for LGD, and you have to think that's just going to increase thanks to this Empower being placed constantly on Ame with that TP, allowing him to just take Ancients without having a meta. And Carl, at the very least, will get this tier 2 bot. So it does have a BKB.
That's a tier 1
travel right now.
That's the first tower.
That is the first tower?
Yep.
What did I just say?
Tier 2. But he probably said tier 2 because it was the second tower of the game.
Second tier 1 tower, Cinder. Let's get a cheer for Cinderin for correcting me. Really appreciate that.
Woo!
Let's get cheers in the chat. Appreciate that.
Looking behind me, the crowd loved it.
Yeah, Ricky is very proud of you. All right, Scotty online. Is this the go time? Because ever since they picked up these Blink there, they haven't really done that much. They had that one smoke gank that just resulted in one CM kill.
There it is.
Now they have Scotty. Thank you.
There's
Thank
the
you,
cheer.
chat. Really
Thank you. Very good.
Man, that's actually a lot of fun. Not gonna lie. Now we have but just like I said, so Scotty is go time. Yep. Psg.Lgd. They might just go for Roche potentially. Probably would prefer to get a pick off beforehand.
Yeah, and they might just find Zephyr here.
Zephyr.
No ward though.
Yeah.
Okay, there's
counter
smoke
smoke now.
Yep.
Why?
Why not?
Area, but doesn't look like there will be a resulting kill, at least not yet. 𝙎𝘃𝘄, in the meantime, has his armlet. We've been seeing that pretty much every game on Legion Commanders, along with the Blink Dagger that you mentioned. So they have some counter initiation possibility. With the looming RP potential, that is the scariest thing for T1.
For sure. I do think that was a really nice play there from Zephyr, though. He was hiding behind the tree line and had the ward in front. So as soon as that smoke breaks, he can immediately just 𝙎𝘃𝘄 away. And they have a very hard time finding the opening on him. So basically just a safe breaker there. And with superior vision right now in this area, 𝙎𝘃𝘄 is kind of potentially thinking about this. They will see the wall.
RP was canceled at the very least, but it's going to cost Faith beyond his life. I don't know if that was just perfect timing or if that was actual reaction. Overwhelming odds comes out. Carl continuing to chase. Don't think they want to go high ground. A little bit too sketchy. Only a 25-second death timer, so not enough time to really go for Roche. But the smoke from T1 trying to wrap around. But you can see the positioning for Psg.Lgd. There is the initiation. That's going to be the first duel victory for 𝙎𝘃𝘄. And when it's this early in the game, it's really difficult to go get Roche because the timers are so low and they didn't really expend anything. RP's still online. Like, if he had used his RP, then maybe.
Yeah. Important there for Faith Beyond to cancel it, right? It was a very quick reaction from both players, really. He blinked up and RP'd and canceled it immediately as soon as the Legion commander blinked out. Like, this is some really fast reaction. So you see the courier here finding that observer ward, so they know that's the case. Really, really close to blowing the RP there, but 𝙎𝘃𝘄 obviously with that ward pre-placed had his finger on the blink button and got out. And all right, only 1K lead now for Psg.Lgd. That was the biggest gold swing that T1 have had go their way in the entire game.
Yep, absolutely. As we're going to see 𝙈𝘆𝘆 get picked off.
RP.
RP.
Nice press.
Okay. Well, that didn't result in much. And here's the duel onto the Dragon Knight. Buyback now from 𝙈𝘆𝘆, but it looks like the damage is going to go the way of the Dragon instead. It will be a trade of lives, though, as that is a dieback on the 𝙈𝘆𝘆. And we'll see if this is enough for Psg.Lgd to try to go into the Roche pit. It's 2 dead.
So you know when you buy back and die again, the timer gets added on top?
Yeah.
I wonder how many extra death seconds he got out of this, because he was alive for like a good 1 second after teleporting in.
Yeah,
so that's
a long time.
A net loss, trying to overtake Puppy's record of time spent dead at TI here. 𝙈𝘆𝘆.
Wow. Well, his is more out of quantity than anything. Right?
That's true. He's got a lot of ways to go.
I mean, I'm sure you can compete with that despite only playing in a couple TIs, right?
That's a good joke, Sunsfan
Thank
TV.
You. Right, appreciate that, Sundarin. Yep. Let's get a cheer for that joke in chat, please. Really. Carl. TP's back to base. Not sure why I mentioned that, but yes, the Shadow Blade. Arcane Rune is bottled, so that's kind of a big deal. But like you said, despite that fight, still only a 1K net worth lead for LGD right now.
Wait, hang on. I just realized, who was it that had the most time dead? Puppy was 3rd on that thingy. On the thingy, the words fail me today.
Eloquent as always. 65%. Is this,
who was first?
Is this surprising to you?
Shannon, tell me. Who has the most time spent dead? It was not Puppy.
I don't know.
Was it Coral?
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Puppy was 3rd. No,
this is the TI main stage, Synderin.
Yeah, it was a nice graphic.
For God's sake.
Graphic was the word. It came to me in in a dire moment of need here. What I think about the win expectancy being 2 to 1?
Oh, you're gonna have to hold that thought. We got a duel coming in.
All right.
And 𝙎𝘃𝘄 gets some more damage. Oh. Okay, that's a random centaur from the Helm of the Dominator from Mr. Magnus.
They're gonna go for this. They know there's no RP.
Yeah. And another 10 seconds though, so it's coming in a bit close. Oh, we got the horn toss. 𝙈𝘆𝘆 dead again. It's just racking up these deaths, but 𝙬𝘖𝘋 and company. 𝙎𝙊𝘄𝘼 is not going to be enough to take out 𝙬𝑖𝑡ℎ_BEYOND. He's going to have RP now. Zephyr taking quite a bit of damage, but will back up to safety. And I think T1, you can see the Mortimer's Kisses. This is definitely going to force them back. And the Dragon Knight initiates onto 𝙬𝘖𝘋, has to press the attack himself. Looks like he will be able to walk away safely, though.
This is looking like a potential Psg.Lgd Roche. 5 seconds on Metamorphosis.
And they're smoking.
They have RP, and they do have a really good ward here.
Carl gets Dragon Tail, but there's the press the attack save. 23 Savage able to blow up wide. Does have buyback though. There's the skewer back into the Laguna Blade. They're not going to be able to get the kill, but it's going to be a trade either way. Magnus not able to get off his RP. Pretty big deal, but a big cookie from 𝙎𝙊𝘾𝙄𝘼. The follow-up from Nothing to Say. They will have enough damage to tear through him. 65 seconds of no Lina.
That shard on Snap is so good. We already had a highlight clip earlier today, pre-match, when you saw 𝙎𝙊𝘾𝙄, I believe in one of the qualifiers, hitting a nutty one of those, and that one, another high-impact play, stun into stun into stun into death.
Yeah.
They probably had a lot of
Dragon Tail. The save is not enough, though. Press the attack. Usually a fail-safe. Not this time around. Just too much damage to work with on 𝙎𝙬𝑑's side. And that should finally mean Roche is conceded.
Gonna go the way on Namo here. Working his way now toward a BKB. Just wants that safety against primarily the E-Blade, you would imagine, but also against the Lina Light Strike Array. It is a real feels good item. Also helps a little bit against Crystal Maiden, who, you know, CM has this reputation of just falling off, right?
I thought you were going to say dying a lot.
Yeah, well,
she has a lot of reputation.
That's a part of it.
Yeah.
The thing is, over the last many years, like if you haven't watched too much Dota, Crystal Maiden has reached a point where she can actually scale pretty well and have really high impacts in the later, mid to later portions of the game, primarily because there's just more gold in the game. And Crystal Maiden benefits so much from getting items like Dagger and BKB, which sounds like a lot, but it happens more frequently than you'd think. In this game, though, 𝙬𝘗𝘆 is at the bottom of the food chain.
Yes. This is looking like a patch from like 2 years ago, maybe.
Yeah, he
2.5
is
years ago.
very, very poor, and it just means you're food. Like, he dies to literally 3 attacks from 𝙤𝙀𝘍𝑒𝐿𝑎𝑑e. If he gets caught by anything, he's just gone. So 𝙬𝘗𝘆, there's a lot of pressure on him to stay very, very far back, get in a good position, and more than likely just accepting that freezing field is going to be exceptionally difficult to use here.
Yeah. Oh, you do have press the attack shard, Synderen.
That's true.
To give you a brief moment of magic immunity.
1.75 seconds of ulti there.
Very good.
He could actually still
like
just die to terribly.
Either way, they have 2 BKB piercing stuns.
If you get one of those on the Maiden, you're probably happy though.
Yeah, that's a good point. We have initiation from Nothing to Say. Dragon Tail, Faith Beyond, skewers back into the fray. An easy pickoff for 𝙎𝙬𝑑 again. Still holding that Aegis for another 3 minutes. We'll see what they can do with this Dragon form. We'll likely go for the tier 2 top.
Yeah. Queuing up his own BKB as well. Seems like 𝙎𝙬𝑑 are trying to hit a timing here with double BKB on Terrorblade as well as the Dragon Knight. Obviously, Terrorblade gets it a little bit earlier.
Yep.
But that is going to be a really big problem from T1. From a damage perspective, if your Lina is pressured in the fight so she has to run away, I don't think you can kill anyone in BKB. This Morphling build is not good against BKB. You have Linken's as well as E-Blade. There's none of that like strong right click, just like a Butterfly or a Daedalus. Nothing of that kind. 𝙎𝙬𝑑 are just going to go for it. Go high ground. 25 minutes, you have Aegis, you have all your cooldowns.
Yeah, why not?
Dragon form is running out
online. There's the Metamorphosis, and the tower is going to fall very, very quickly.
T1, your base is burning. Hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
No fortification available either.
They're actually just giving this lane up because 𝙬𝘋𝑗's dead. They can't defend.
Yeah. Can't blame them. Still 2 minutes on that Aegis. So like you said, it will be a completely free set of racks for 𝙎𝙬𝑑, who now sport an 8K net worth lead. Carl.
Just so clean, right? They see that they have enough time for this. They grab exactly what they can, get out, and lose nothing. Yeah. That was even with Dragon Form expiring about 2 seconds into the push, but they're just so confident.
Oh, he gets the Nightmare off. That's the Aether Lens. Look at that ridiculous range. Of course, has Fiend's Grip if they really need it, but it doesn't look like it'll come to be. Oh, press the attack. They're actually going to expend RP. This is a really important kill. Finally taken out. Does take quite a bit, but nice catch there by Y.
Yeah, that was a little bit of miscommunication on LGD's part. They end up using both RP as well as grip through that skewer, but I don't know if T1 realized, so perhaps they're still going to be scared of the grip. I think Y canceled it very, very quickly. Yeah, that's a big pick on Carl and LGD, straight down mid.
Yep, still a minute to burn.
They want to force the buyback, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Can't blame them.
All right, they get it.
Yeah, DK looks fine for now, but there's the duel. Can they save him? Carl pops the BKB, trying to create as much space on the sideline as possible. Laguna Blade blows up the Bane in the meantime. Eventually, Cuckoo does fall. It's a 2-for-2 with the buyback now onto Carl. And with that, Psg.Lgd will back away. Oh, they find the horn toss onto Zephyr and gets the time lapse off the full HP again. Still working on the Aghanim Scepter for himself, which is another turning point potential for T1.
Very, very close
so
to
T1 gets something. Yeah.
Yep, they do. It's expensive to buy back your Lina, though. And just as expensive, you saw in that exact situation, if Bane had Fiend's Grip there, I think they win the game, almost. Like, they would have just gripped the Lina. But Carl could go there, straight in, kill off Y, and at least build up a little bit of momentum in the fight for them. It's still not looking great for T1, but you can be a little bit hopeful if they are the ones to get the initiate, or when, like you said, the Weaver Axe is a big item in this game against both RP as well as the Fiend's Grip, trying to keep heroes alive. I believe the Fiend's Grip should still be channeling. If you do get time-lapse, it sticks on you, basically, but the repositioning can be easily enough to save you, especially against Terrorblade. Oh, Zephyr, hello.
Showing here, the shard into the cookie, goodbye. You talked about the power of Jin-Q shard, and when you combine that with a blink dagger, it is very hard to avoid, even as a Weaver.
He was not expecting to find enemies there, but Psg.Lgd have that ward sentry combination. They were ready.
Radiant's bottom tower.
Look at the discrepancy between 1 and 2 here, between 23 Savage and 𝙈𝘇.
Yep.
That is pretty gigantic, and it's just growing from here. So 𝙈𝘇, what is he working on now? Obviously finished the Manta a while ago into the BKB, and has his sight set towards Chrysalis. And then for 23 Savage on the other side, you talked about the Lincolns. I mean, would you change this build in any way? It feels like Lincolns is almost necessary, but at the same time, I mean, Lincolns doesn't feel that bad on Morphling just because of the stats nature to it, but
yeah, it's
you're still lacking some damage, right?
Yeah, you are. Maybe he wants to bypass BKB entirely in his build and just trust Cuckoo to press the attack, the biggest key spell, but it still needs the Lincolns against the Bane, and I think his item build is fine. It's just, like you said, you need more. And the problem is LGD have been ahead the whole game, just pushing in your waves better. Yeah. So Terrorblade will be that one major item ahead. And as far as 𝙈𝘇 goes, he doesn't have a defensive item similar to Lincoln's. He has the BKB, which is super high impact for the type of team fights that LGD's lineup plays. It's very high burst. You get an RP, you get a grip, you get a Dragon Tail, and you just commit and go. The only thing you've had to worry about the whole game until now was that press the attack, but now there's a second quote-unquote press the attack from Zephyr. And this is a smoke timing for T1. They're gonna go for it.
Yeah, and this is gonna be the Axe reveal, like you said. So we'll see if Psg.Lgd play around that or not. But it could have huge impact, as apparently only one buyback in the game right now, for nothing to say.
Yeah, he also has a gem, and he's holding a very strong high ground position. Jin-Q.
Oh, yeah, he spots
in Glimmer Cape into Blink.
All right. Well, they thought that somebody was high ground, but they didn't know he was invisible as well, as 𝙈𝘇 is going to show bot lane. And it looks like this tier 2 will fall as a result.
Just masterfully done from LGD, right? They avoid the smoke play, they get the stronger position, and they get a tower. So effectively T1 smoke to lose there. Usually the worst case scenario when you smoke, if you don't find a fight, is that the enemy team hides, but you gain some ground. You didn't even gain ground, you actually lost it.
Into the jungle, LGD goes. It's not an insurmountable lead for T1 to try to come back from.
Cuckoo.
Oh, that was felt like a longer TP. Not sure where he ended up, but oh, it was just in the fountain. Maybe not. Cutting it close there. Still working on his BKB. As second Roche is available. Now, who gets the shards?
I was gonna. You said it first.
I mean, Faith Beyond already has his, right? So
you do a really good Suns fan impersonation. Did you know that?
Oh boy, that's an insult. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it is.
Maybe you get the Demon Zeal. I'm not sure actually this game. This is, you could go for the Dragon One's okay.
I actually think they're going to give him the Zeal here.
Right. Yep, there it is. Yep. You will consume it. So Demon Zeal, basically costing 20% of TB's HP, and you get movement speed, attack speed. While in melee form, you get even more.
It's a double up.
Yeah. Pretty strong, and especially when combined, like we talked about, with the Empower. I mean, not that he's having trouble farming right now, Synderen, but this will add it to another level. As Faith Beyond will get the skewer up into the Dragon Tail, and Whitemon again. The crowd goes wild, yeah. They really like watching Crystal Maiden die.
I was like, damn, he only took 2 hits like expected. He even has a plate mail. Like, imagine if he didn't on the Maiden. Yeah. It's tough times to be a Crystal Maiden in this game. You get caught by literally anything, you're just gone. So, easy
She's
pick
quite
there.
slow, sadly. So, Ame, I guess next item for him is actually just going to be the completed data list, which I would assume takes the place of his boots if his Aegis is still in his inventory.
And worth keeping in mind when you have Satanic like this, Demon Zeal just feels good to use. You restore your health so fast anyway, so using it in fights, sometimes that can be a double-edged sword. Yeah, you get more damage, but you also take 20% health. Usually when you have Satanic, it doesn't really matter that much. All you need is to get in one attack when you're starting to struggle, and you're going to get all of that health back right in, and here we go.
And here we have meta popped again.
Oh, Carl isn't in position
Oh, the skewer back with the horn toss set up into the RP, but no! Press the attack waveform is enough to bait out the RP. And T1, see if they want to try to take advantage of this. I mean, they're going to have to if this continues to go in LGD's favor with this push. E-Blade onto Ame. You can see the jump in from nothing to say with an overwhelming blick being shown as Carl has to pop his BKB, and there is the duel. Do they have enough damage with the Sunder from Ame, allowing the duel victory to go the way of nothing to say. He's just going to walk that one off, but 23 Savage can't walk that one off. That is just too much damage to withstand. And Carl jumps in. This is going to be the beginning of the end, I do believe, although 2 buybacks come up for T1. And the Metamorphosis.
海博进来之后想打破了这换追了自己一手，撑了很长一段时间。后面的话我们看一下萧瑟这里盾还在，吃了火女子灭斩，龙骑士又切入过来配合自己的队友，把买活的水人干死，105秒买不活。
水人买活死这一波应该是要杀死比赛了。吹风还想贴身冰眼黏住丽娜，
哎，不是兄弟，要不慢点，我的大泡泡机还没看到呢。
GG已经没了，
哎，不给机会，
这波直接杀死了比赛。
感觉结束的很
因为最后这其实是老干爹已经酝酿已久了，就是在第2代肉山刷的那个时间里面，老干爹已经是取得了一个非常大的优势，而且那个时候是带盾 TB 上你高是一点办法都没有的，并且他上高的时候还在会抓你的这种。
And they just got taken away right in front of them. It's not. There really isn't. You know what's kind of scary in a way here is that this didn't even feel like LGD's best game of the tournament to me. Like they had a couple of hiccups where a little bit of spell casting doesn't go perfectly, and it's because we expect perfection from them, but it still wasn't really close. That's a little bit worrying for T1 going into the next game.
We've seen some teams get off to a pretty good start against LGD. Like, they've been down 20K, but they end up coming back because they don't make that many mistakes when it comes to mid to late game. That's the issue for the other teams playing against them.
The one game that they did lose in the groups was against Secret. I think LGD played a strategy with Alchemist, and Secret had, I want to say, Ogre Tiny, and Matoma Man just ended up overpowering. So Secret actually won a late game situation against LGD, which seems like not many teams can get into a late game position where they're competitive. Like you said, the game, I believe it was against Elephant, as a matter of fact. Elephant had a huge advantage and still ended up losing later. So, well, T1, you gotta got to find the secret sauce for this next game because 𝙈𝙀 are looking hot.
I won't go there. Let's just go to the panel instead.
Hot.
I liked it, Cinderin. Now, that was kind of a long game for 𝙈𝙀, boys. Went over 30 minutes short for T1, as you reminded me, Tsunami. But do you think it was just a case of them biding their time just to be absolutely sure now they're on the main stage?
Yeah, I think that if anything, they need to start practicing what happens after 30 minutes. They haven't been there in so long that they're like, might have to experiment, like, oh man, I haven't even seen that tier of neutral items yet. We need to figure out how do we recalibrate. Or maybe they're just very good and they were also showing T1 respect.
We've got to talk about the draft. It seemed like T1 were kind of doomed from the start, Ari. It was weird. Even I could see it was a little bit weird.
Yeah, maybe a little bit. I think
just a little.
Their draft wasn't that bad versus 𝙈𝙀, but I think their concept on the draft maybe felt a bit off for them. I think usually what happens is if they can enable 𝙬𝙬, him and the two supports will be able to make some plays. And like CM Weaver Legion, it didn't look like that this game. I think, honestly, a bit of the decisions that T1 made around their heroes looked off to me. I think 𝙬𝙬 going for Armlet was not good versus 𝙬𝙬. I think CM had to go Max Nova this game in order for them to have a chance. Them not doing that, it just led to them not really being able to pressure 𝙈𝙀.
I mean, if you look at 𝙬𝙬 there, the Legion commander, no kills, but it wasn't just that. It was also his gold lead was actually quite far behind pretty much everyone. And seeing as this is a player that we talk about putting his farm priority ahead of his teammates, if he's not able to get anything done, not able to get some shopping in his car, Jenkins, how is the rest of his team going to have any hope?
You know, I think that naturally happens when you fall behind as an offlaner. It's just kind of the role that, like, once the map starts closing in, once the fights start happening, your mid and your carry get the priority, unfortunately for Master 𝙬𝙬 here. But to me, the biggest thing that I saw from 𝙈𝙀 this game that made it look so dominating, and I think T1 actually on the other side, and this is why the game took so long, T1 had some great aspects of this as well. They changed their timings. So nothing to say invis rotation towards that top tower with DK. So number one, he takes the mid tower with his DK form. And then right after that, he picks up an invis rune, and then he heads towards the top tower, and he sets up like a triple kill with the invis rune. And obviously that's something that, like, you're not guaranteed an invis rune. So it's not like 𝙈𝙀 is doing this in every game, but there's some equivalent, haste rune, whatever. And then after that, he gets his blink. They smoke directly into the triangle, which is the polar opposite area of the map. And then they get a kill there. And then from that, they have like a 3 to 4K gold lead at 10 minutes. And the game feels a lot easier than all of a sudden 𝙬𝙬 falls behind like we just saw. And I think on the other side, T1 actually chained timings like this as well and almost came back at a point where 𝙬𝙬 was standing on the high ground and then Mag blinked in to RP. 𝙬𝙬 blinked out because they were camping a ward. They killed the Mag or they killed somebody, and then they smoked up and then killed in the triangle as well, and that got them a little bit of a lead, but then 𝙈𝙀 just kept chaining timings after that. But you talk about this a lot, how, like, I remember during NADBC, you were always like, they should chain smokes here, they should chain smokes here, because in Dota, you really need to only win. If you win like one fight, it puts you in the lead. If you win another fight, it makes it so the enemy team, you're stomping the enemy team. If you win 3 fights in a row, there's no way that they can win. That's how things scale in Dota. It's like exponential scaling.
And it looked early game like T1 was scaling pretty well, Tsunami. But, you know, it was literally just in the laning phase. That was kind of part of 𝙈𝙀's plan.
If you are ever feeling like you're in the lead, I think it's because 𝙈𝙀 are giving you permission to be in the lead. They're like, that's fine. You can have what you want. And teams are often like, they get complacent whenever they have those circumstances. That they're like, wow, things are going kind of how we wanted them to go. It's only because 𝙈𝙀 is letting it happen right now.
It really feels that way with this team.
And so every single time I look at a last hit differential, I'm like, I don't really know if that tells me anything. Even in the mid lane, where it should be the most definitive, oftentimes things are happening elsewhere. It's like 𝙈𝙀 are establishing stacks that you need to be worried about, and they're getting ready to do rotations and stuff like that. So no one has found the solution yet, and that's why 𝙈𝙀 only have dropped a single game throughout this entire tournament thus far.
I thought that mid lane 3v3 that was happening was actually favoring T1, because I was sitting there thinking like, oh, Lina's like a better late game hero than DK, but then I realized once DK picks up the Blink Dagger, it was all gas, no brakes for 𝙈𝙀. And so, sure, in the late game, Lina is going to be a better hero than DK because you just do the most damage, like even considering carries. But DK, if you're getting enough out of his blink timing, it's actually better for the DK team.
I wanted to ask about Roshan. There's a fight towards the end of the game, about 32 minutes in, and 𝙎𝙬𝘼 are literally free to get it. And it seemed like T1, they're just spinning in the jungle. They could have gone for a tower or, you know, done something. I'm going at the screen, I'm just like, why are they just spinning on the mini-map? And Tsunami had the theory that they were trying to help Lina farm and protecting her, but do you think that was a mistake? Do you think actually maybe they should have prioritized pushing?
I think with that lineup at that point in the game, there's nothing you could do anymore. I think if T1 wanted, like, that sort of play where it looks awkward to spectators, it happens because they're like trying to evaluate their options and they can't find a clear win condition. And if you don't have a clear objective in mind, then oftentimes you're just doing random things while trying to think of it. And it looks weird, but honestly, I don't think there's anything better they could do. Like T1 this draft, they had to have bot lane go better in order to win this game.
Jenkins.
Yeah.
I enjoy listening to you talk about Dota. You might have realized by now. If you haven't, I enjoy listening to hearing you talking about Dota.
What are you setting up for right now?
I heard you describe 𝙎𝙬𝘼 as the ultimate man fighter during that last game. So the floor is yours, my friend.
All right, okay. Well, I will say, just because, well, I'm not the best carry player. He can tell you. Lost a lot of MMR playing carry. However,
bad.
I was speaking with 𝙈𝙬, I was speaking with BSJ, and we were talking about TB versus Morph because it's one of those matchups that you think is going to be very Morph favored because you just turn into 𝙎𝙬𝘼. I mean, Morphling, he morphs into somebody, and he gets all of the spells and not an ultimate, right? And then 𝙎𝙬𝘼's the one hero where people say that one of his basic spells is his ultimate, Metamorphosis, right? And so you would think that Morph versus TB is like massively more favored, but it just doesn't seem like that's the case practically. Like hypothetically, maybe that's true, but practically it's not. I think the nerf where you can't just be a Morphling who's meta now, you have to stay in the TB form to stay meta. So that's a problem for Morphling. But also a part of that is I think that Morphling is the type of hero, he gets a Scotty, he gets a Satanic, and he can 1v1 almost any carry in the game. But TB just presses Sunder on you. And then also, I think BSJ was saying something about TB is like a team fighting carry. Maybe you know more about that than...
Yeah, I think the thing about the Morphling versus TB matchup is that Morphling can counter TB. A lot of it, as well as what you said, is a magical damage and burst potential coming out from 𝙎𝙬𝘼. But 𝙎𝙬𝘼, his specialty is actually that he's a team fight anchor. Like he will anchor the team fight, and Morphling doesn't really do that. He wants the team fight to be more split up. So if it comes down to it where 𝙎𝙬𝘼 and Morphling are hitting each other, you'd think Morph would do well, but it just doesn't happen that way. 𝙎𝙬𝘼's stacking is too good, meta's too strong. Just something's like weird about the matchup in that sense.
I think Sunder really helps. And then also like any hero that has high stats, any hero that has good illusions, Morphling obviously picks Manta, you know, Luna, like TB just spawns a 100% version of themselves that they can't hit with his Q. So that always turns the matchup as well. TB's just like the ultimate anti-carry. Even if you're the anti-TB hero, it's like, well, your anti-TB is still a carry and TB's the anti-carry, so good luck.
And none of these games exist in a vacuum also.
No, they don't.
And so Legion Commander trying to enable her Morphling was not nearly as significant as the Jinkyu's Snapfire. Jinkyu's Snapfire was providing so much setup that 𝙎𝙬𝘼 didn't even have to really worry about that much until it finally became mono and mono time.
Yeah, I think how 𝙎𝙬𝘼 generally breaks down is if 𝙎𝙬𝘼 can right-click in fights, then he wins the fights, and if he can't right-click, he can't win the fights. That's why it's the same thing for Legion. Like Legion's a committal hero. How I feel 𝙎𝙬𝘼 is when you press meta, you're committing in a fight. So that means if you want a dual son, you're going into a full commitment hero whose commitment is stronger than you. Maybe I'm saying the word too many times, but 𝙎𝙬𝘼's timing, like how he fights is stronger than Legion's, and Legion has to go in.
You're right. We had the same discussion with 𝙬𝙀 and TB at the Animator too, where it's like, oh, 𝙬𝙀, he's the illusion clear hero, right? The best illusion clear in the game, so surely he's good against 𝙎𝙬𝘼. Well, what 𝙎𝙬𝘼 wants to do is he wants to just man up and fight you. 𝙬𝙀 runs in there and has to be very close to you in order to kill you as TB, and TB's like, all right. And if you're going to kill him, he sunders you, and then he uses the fact that you're going to kill him to kill you. Yeah. So it really just practically doesn't work the way that you think it would, hypothetically.
We've got 30 seconds before the teams walk out on stage. So just really quickly, good 𝙎𝙬𝘼 counters. I think T1 might want the advice.
I think it's a usual style, actually. I think long-range nukes and slows actually beat 𝙎𝙬𝘼. If they can pull off that type of lineup, and have 𝙬𝘖 kick him out of lane earlier. I think they're actually very set up to beat 𝙎𝙊𝘆𝘆.
All right.
Zeus.
He's one of the uncontested heroes. One of the only uncontested heroes at this event.
Pick a 39% win rate hero. It'll go well.
Okay, Tsunami.
Don't even worry about 𝙎𝙊𝘆𝘆. It's not going to happen.
He's going to get banned.
No, it's not even going to happen. 𝙎𝙊𝘆𝘆, that was just for T1's benefit. They've got plenty more tricks up their sleeve.
All right, well, the teams are walking out on stage right now. As you can see, Psg.Lgd, they look cool as lovely cucumbers. But you know what? T1, they're going to have had that team talk. That family feeling will be in the booth, and they are going to bounce back. I'm sure Coach March has given some of those inspirational massages. So as they get ready in their booths, we are going to take a look back at T1's journey to TI.
They get the kill on a semi out.
Be careful, out of position here.
Into the trade. Double stun again from 𝙬𝘆𝘆. He is too good this game. He's too good this series. He's looked really well. And while 𝙬𝘆𝑚 double kill, Carl getting both. Now looking over at the Ancient Apparition, who throws out a Desperation Ice Blast, and they're still looking for more. Bob on the run, but 𝙬𝘆𝘆's ready. Wow. Oh my god! 𝙬𝘆𝘆 on the edge of the mana gets the stun, and they will get this kill on a Bob. There they go, back into the paint.
Tough position to be in. 700, 500.
Timber Chain, who's gonna pick it up? Aegis snatched by 𝙬𝘖. He's got it. There's Zero Spike coming through, and they've got another some of the impale landing on both Gabby as well as Bach. This Timbersaw doing a lot here. They get the kill on RML. They'll take out Boomy. Two heroes down on the side of TNC. They'll focus their attention on the Gabby. 23 moving in. He's got the doppelganger with the help from the rest of the team, and they should be able to take out the Tiny and look for more. Bach on the run. 𝙬𝘖 trying to maintain that Aegis. They've got the impale. They have the lockdown confirmed, and they'll get the kill confirmed too. Triple kill for 𝙬𝘖. Again, with the Shadow Word, he's just taking 0 damage. Literally 0 damage. Blink call coming in from 𝙬𝘖. They've got the taunt out onto the gyro. Is it going to beat up? Chaotic Offering follows it up. They've got the damage coming in with the impale. And they get hit by 𝙎𝙊𝘆𝘆. He's there with the save. They've got the Afivo, and now the Burrow Strikes are going to come through as well as the Epicenter on the center as well. 23. They have the damage with BKBB pop. Can't get the Satanic off. 23 trying to heal up as much as he can. Shadow Word's also doing work. They've got the impale on the CTM. They'll get the kill on the Sand King. They'll take him out for 85. No buyback. 𝙬𝘖 with one sliver of health. Blink call on the 2. He's still not going to die. They've got the Shadow Word. They get the kill on 𝙬𝘆𝘆. They end up losing play hard, and with the tether, it's not going to be enough to stay alive. 𝙎𝙊𝘆 dead. Disarm onto the gyro. Natsumi's gone. No buyback for anybody on Neon. I mean, that was amazing by 𝙬𝘖. He comes in with just a sliver of health with that blink call right at the end.
I mean, honestly, this game too, we're just seeing the same here from T1. Just top stuff. There is no doubt about it. That the work and preparation that this team put in before turning up has been huge. The arena will come down on it. Get the Stone Gaze up, but there's no damage. T1 don't care at all about being caught in this combo. It's Asta that have to run as soon as the ultimates are used. They just cannot fight T1. T1, they're all full HP. They're pushing down the mid. There's the RP on jump again. Carl gets the RP, and he's caught the big one. He's caught 𝙬𝘆𝘆. 𝙬𝘆𝘆 out of mana. He'll go down. As the tips indeed absolutely go in the web.
There it is.
They'll call it GG.
In a tad bit of trouble here, but he is again very tanky, and 23 Savage is lying in wait. If Psg.Lgd overextend themselves, beautiful hit from 𝙬𝘆𝘆𝘆. The pre-hex on the axe. His initiation denied. The Doom living through the Skywrath Mage ultimate, and Carl catching 3 on the coil. Now they're in trouble. Psg.Lgd, they're just gonna get wiped in this team fight. 4 down. 𝙬𝘆𝘆 nowhere in sight because he knows a lost team fight when he sees one.
And that's the story of T1 in the DPC seasons and the run up to this year's international. Earlier, though, we touched on 23 Savage, and we didn't get much time to talk about this carry, who hopefully we're going to get to see blossom more and more in this tournament. But unfortunately, potentially after this game, why is 23 Savage someone to keep an eye on in the future?
I think it's kind of an inspirational story that there are many 23 Savages out there. I think there's many pub stars, leaderboard showing up mid laners who show up on the radar and they're given a chance. But oftentimes the chance just doesn't really galvanize into anything. And so last year, it was, or 2 years now at this point, it was on 𝙎𝙊𝘾𝘄𝘼 where you're like, oh man, this is a really hot shot squad, you know, just a stack trying to make it to TI and they come ever so short. And then sometimes these players just fade away into irrelevance after that. They just try to make it on qualifiers stacks and they don't find enough support around them, both literally in the game and outside of the game to enable it. But him and 𝙎𝙊𝘾𝘄𝘼, 23 Savage and 𝙎𝙊𝘾𝘄𝘼 are the only Thai players here, and now 𝙎𝙊𝘾𝘄𝘼, him and 𝙎𝙊𝘾𝘄𝘼 were kind of in that same culture in Thailand, and I think T1 is unique in how multicultural it is also. Most of these Southeast Asian squads have been, I'm all Filipino, I'm all Indonesian, I'm all Malaysian, and being able to bridge cultures has been very, very useful for 23 Savage, I think specifically, because as a young player, if you have a strong Filipino voice like 𝙎𝘶 and you have Indonesian supports like Zephyr and 𝙈𝘆𝑚on, I think that it has been a very, very enabling group for him.
Well, I don't think this is going to be his last TI, no matter what happens. But we want to switch focus to Psg.Lgd right now, because earlier in the year, we caught up with their captain. Let's find out what he had to say.
Psg.Lgd come to the TI-10 main stage as one of the strongest teams out of the majors. After a third-place finish in Singapore, they made it to the grand finals of the ANA Major in June, defeating Evil Geniuses to take the top spot. Soon after that win, BBC caught up with their captain, 𝙈𝘀。
哪场比赛是最难打的，或者说最接近的？是决赛这场吗？
其实小组赛以来，我们其实有几场一直以来都是比较焦灼的，其实就是从小组赛开始我们赢都不是很顺利，我们还是属于一场一场进步的。然后 T1 那个 BO3 也是让我们成长挺多的。然后到最后1G 那一场，其实是我们讨论很多，包括因为他们先打嘛，然后我们在后面看他们也讨论挺多东西吧。然后包括第2把打他们也不是很顺利，但是也是在慢慢成长。然后最后虽然比分上看上去是3-0，但实际过程并不是那样的。
With TI-10, some are pointing out the similarities between Psg.Lgd's position now to that of Wings, the winners of TI-6 and the last team from China to lift the Aegis. It's a team that included 2 members now on Psg.Lgd, Faith_Beyond and 𝙈𝘀. Coincidence?
我们如果把这个 TI 和 TI 前的这个阶段的这样一个成绩的状况和当年 TI6 和 TI6 之前的状况去做对比，我感觉好像有点类似啊，是不是这样？
有一些吧，因为我就是当时也是身处在那个队伍嘛，然后对当时的就是跟一些此情此景跟当时确实有一些类似吧，主要是团队上的一些沟通什么的，其他倒还好。
你和边将的这样的一个动力，为什么还能够继续的保持下去？是心里还有很多的目标没有实现吗？
关于目标这个，我觉得首先是不光我跟边将吧，包括其实我们的教练小巴也是一样的，我们是有共同目标在为之奋斗的。然后只不过说我们3个是刚好有这个头衔，所以我们在外人的目标看来就是对于第2次的夺冠嘛，然后对标的是 OG。
其实LGD 在所有的中国的这个 Dota 的玩家心目当中，包括一些国际上的粉丝的心目当中，是一支顶尖的队伍。但是 TI 的冠军确实是还没有能够收入过囊中。你作为曾经以前的旁观者和现在的其中的一员，你对于这件事情是怎么来看待？
首先，一直老干爹这个队在 Dota 圈里面一直存在，并且顶尖，这不得不得承认，这是所谓的俱乐部底蕴，这种就是跟俱乐部那些管理什么的是肯定是有很大的关系的。然后再其次到我自身又到这，然后再判断这些，其实从我的角度来说，不管怎么样，都是各自的故事，只不过这本故事的书名肯定是以老干爹为起的吧，我觉得是这样的。
Well, thank you to Captain Y and BBC, our fantastic interviewer there. Let's talk a little bit about that legacy then of Y and Faith.Bian. And Faith.Bian in particular, because after the TI6 victory, Faith.Bian actually had an injury and it kind of took him out the running for a few years.
Yeah, and I think Faith.Bian, even from that TI6 wing squad, he was a very standout player, and he sort of had to recuperate a lot from, I think he broke his arm, and he had to have a few surgeries on it. And a lot of his story is him coming back from that injury and returning to his old form at TI. And
do you feel like he's there now?
Yeah, I think Faith.Bian's looking really good.
I mean, there must be so much on your mind as well. You must have so many memories of these booths and lifting that Aegis and just trying to get back there again, especially after it's been so long. Do you think that people expected Faith.Bian to get back to this position, Tsunami?
Definitely not after. So when Wings imploded due to external circumstances and internal circumstances, I think everyone was hoping that this would be like the new old guard that would be able to carry things, but it just didn't happen quite as much.
Well, let's see if a 2-0 happens right now.
Dire team pick.
Behold the horn of Magnus.
Not by talking about this draft, but actually just a small overview. What do you think that the weaknesses you pointed out last draft were really apparent in the game?
My biggest thing, at least that I want to see that T1 is going to take away to this one, is find a way to shut down 𝙈𝘀𝘿 a little bit more. I feel like he just had the freest game. Sure, his team was making
10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Radiant team banned. Dire team. Ten seconds remaining.
Standard stuff coming out from them, and it allows you to move around the map. The tricore that they always use, especially in the previous game, was a bit of an issue because you have Weaver CM, who's very sluggish hero, and she was extremely underfarmed, and move out with the Legion Commander, try to go for the kills, while Lina is farming in the triangle. She's heavily farm-oriented hero, will rarely join fights early on, like she wants that to hit that BKB boots of travel timing, so that was a huge issue for T1. I think this opener works much better.
Yeah, and I know we talk a lot about how T1 is more of like, especially with the way that they have played before, it's the longer games, it's more of these responsive kind of plays. Sure. And that's why they went for like the Weaver, you have this time lapse eventually with the Aghanims, you have this Legion Commander for save. I don't want that from T1, actually, versus 𝙎𝙬𝑑. Even though it's more of their style, I want them to be more of the aggressors, because I think if you just kind of hang back, that's playing completely into Psg.Lgd's hands. So just more aggression, and yeah, like you said, this is already leaps and bounds better for me. Yeah.
All right. Can we move on to the 𝙎𝙬𝑑 draft, because we thought to have your favorite hero? It's the ET.
Yeah. I mean, it's
ET.
The stats say it all. I don't need to say anything else anymore. OP hero. Death Prophet also. They're one of the few teams that are still really confident, even picking it first too. I think we've had a couple other teams grab it like later on in the draft, but Psg.Lgd just open with it, and I've seen them do this several times.
I know you're both happy and sad at the same time seeing ET, because what's going to happen after TI?
It's going to get buffed.
Nope. Definitely not. We see Psg.Lgd protecting that profit pick, and also wait to disengage a team fight, so Invoker banned out the Quas Vex Invoker. On the other side, T1 also protecting Magnus with Winter Wyvern, one of the better heroes in general to split up the fight, and you know, Winter Wyvern's still very good. At one point, she had over 90% win rate.
Yeah, T1's still very comfortable with that, and that's a hero that can play in both capabilities, which is why I really like Wyvern almost in any meta. You're an aggressor or you're a defensive capabilities. You have so much potential also for damage throughout all stages of the game because you're percent base. Just a good hero overall. I think that's another really one that was a bit undervalued for me. I thought it was going to get picked a lot more, but I also really like the, I know you touched on the bans. The Shadow Demon ban is always one. If you have Death Prophet, like almost always you want to take out Shadow Demon because you can't build Yules, your mobility is completely stagnated as well. And yeah, that's a change up. We got a Dawnbreaker.
It's been mostly VP has been running this hero, and with high value both in the carry and the 5 position. Actually, I'm just going to start asking, what is this a core? Is this a support Dawnbreaker, or is just a massive flow?
Hard to say. They have Magnus with the Empower, so like if you get Empower on that hero, played as a carry, it could be potentially really, really good. It's one of the heroes that comes online extremely quickly with the Echo Saber. As you mentioned, Virtus.pro ran it 3 times. I believe 2 were wins, 1 was a loss. And we've seen a couple of Dawnbreakers being played as a position 4/5 so far.
Still flex, but I would imagine it's more so going to be this.
Radiant team pick the Earth Shaker. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Radiant team ban.
Medusa.
Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Dire team ban. Radiant team ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Dire team ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Radiant team pick. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Dire team pick.
Terrorblade.
10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Choose your hero. Prepare for battle.
I gambled. You lost. Handsome devil, aren't I? What did you expect?
First blood. Thanks and have fun.
I foresee a great deal more.
30 seconds to battle. The battle begins.
Yes, this will do just fine.
哎，身体不算舒服。
来呀来呀，来打我呀！来呀来呀，来打我呀！
that up consistently with your ult. They have RP. A very long cooldown. That's basically it. So the reason I bring
Nazi to say.
Mither.
My thanks.
Sorry.
I feel like that's not the best voice line usage from Carl there. I don't feel like I don't feel like nothing to say lost there. But I do feel like Carl gambled, so he got 50% of his voice line right.
Name your beauties.
Bountiful.
Dire's middle tower is under attack. Dire's structures are fortified. Dire's middle tower is under attack. Dire's middle tower is under attack. Radiant structures are fortified. Dire's top tower is under attack. Dire's top tower is under attack. Radiant's courier has been slain.
Bounty which my matriarch will prize.
No.
Dire's structures are fortified. Radiant's bottom tower is under attack. Dire's middle tower is under attack. Dire's middle tower has fallen. Performance are fortified. Dire's top tower is under attack. Dire's top tower has fallen. Radiant's courier has been slain. Radiant's bottom tower is under attack. 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 Radiant's bottom tower has fallen.
Almighty money.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack. Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Invisibility. What did you expect?
Radiant's middle tower is under attack. Radiant's middle tower is under attack. Radiant structures are fortified. Dire's structures are fortified. Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Impure beauties. Dire's top tower is under attack. Dire's top tower has fallen.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
I gamble.
At least we learned a bit.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack. Radiant's middle tower is under attack. Dire's bottom tower is under attack. Radiant's top tower is under attack. Dire's courier has been slain. Radiant's top tower is under attack. Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Killing spree. Hello, this is 𝙎𝙊𝘾𝙄𝘼. Thanks for playing Dota 2. Double kill.
The world's better off chanting from the rest of you.
Lấy tảo rồi nha. Lại nha, lấy tảo rồi nha.
Radiant's top tower is under attack. Dire's middle tower is under attack. Dire's middle tower is under attack. Dire's bottom tower is under attack. Dire's structures are fortified.
Unseen, not obscured.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack. Radiant's middle tower is under attack. Dire's middle tower is under attack. Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Double damage!
Radiant's middle tower is under attack. Dire's bottom tower is under attack. Radiant's middle tower is under attack. Radiant structures are fortified. Radiant's middle tower is under attack. Radiant's middle tower has fallen. Radiant's top tower is under attack. Radiant's top tower has fallen. Dire's bottom tower is under attack. Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Treasures.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack. Radiant structures are fortified. Radiant's top tower is under attack. Yes. Dire's middle tower is under attack. Dire's bottom tower is under attack. Radiant's top tower is under attack. Radiant's top tower has fallen. Dire's bottom tower is under attack. Radiant's top tower is under attack. Dire's structures are fortified. Dire's bottom tower has fallen.
This will provide.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
you expect?
Yes, bounty.
Dire's top tower is under attack. Radiant's middle tower has fallen. Radiant's middle barracks are under attack. Radiant's middle barracks have fallen. Has been slain. Radiant structures are fortified. Radiant's top tower is under attack. Dire's courier has been slain. Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Trimetric crash.
Is under attack. Radiant's top tower has fallen. Radiant's top barracks are under attack. Radiant's top barracks have fallen. Radiant's top barracks have fallen. Radiant's middle tower is fallen. Radiant's middle tower is under attack. Radiant structures are fortified. Radiant's middle tower is under attack. Dire's bottom tower is under attack. Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Showcasing all of the strengths of both teams, honestly. I think T1 playing some of their absolute best heroes and a lot of standout performances. How many good catches do we see from 𝙬𝙬,
among a couple of interesting we need wards in the enemy base, but for the most part,
Carl on the Doom, all of their trademark stuff, and Psg.Lgd showing their insane late game plays, right? That you're so far behind and you still make that look like an even game. You gotta say, going into game 3, right? If T1 gets some of these key heroes and they can build themselves a position like that, they definitely have what it takes to take the series. But LGD still even in a loss, have to inspire confidence in the viewers that they're probably still the favorite in game 3. Especially if they clean up a little bit, perhaps in the draft here with giving
they
T1
went
all
late
these heroes,
game against Refresher Medusa, Refresher Doom, Refresher Magnus, not to mention Refresher Shards on top of those already Refresher Orbs. Unbelievable game number 2. Like I said,
crazy game for T1.
Yeah, T1 forces this to game 3. Let's see what the panel has to say about this absolutely god-tier game 2.
Well, I have to say, first of all, that was absolutely god-tier casting from Suns fan and from Syndra in there. Thank you so much, gentlemen. Now, we were reminding ourselves as we were watching that incredible match that T1 actually have taken a game off 𝙎𝙬𝘾𝙄𝘼 in the upper bracket final of the Kiev Major. So the fact that they won today actually shouldn't be that surprising, Tsunami.
There was a Doom in that game as well, although it wasn't on Carl, it was on 𝙬𝙬, but it does seem like the T1 will resolve their more dangerous situations with comfort, and that happened in this game, that happened in the Ana Major, but then LGD did take game 3, and I don't know, maybe tides are changing? We'll see.
Maybe. I mean, it worked. Like, we looked at that draft, and we were thinking, like, okay, on one hand, you have, this is the most T1 draft ever. You have the greediest heroes, also heroes that can make plays though. But it's like you have Magnus, who is obviously going to be farming up with his abilities. You have Midas on the Doom. You have Devour. You have Medusa, and yet like they were still running around the map, killing everybody. I actually think that the MVPs of that game were 𝙈𝙀𝘿𝘄𝘼, 𝙬𝙀, and 𝙬𝙀𝘆𝑚on, and 𝙬𝙀𝘆𝑚on in particular, because in every single fight, he was waiting to use his Finger of Death. In that huge fight at the end, where literally 10 heroes bought back, the reason that they were able to kill, I believe it was Nothing to Say right at the end, where it looked like 𝙎𝙁𝑔d was actually going to take it with that buyback, was with 𝙬𝙀𝘆𝑚on in the Finger, where I was sitting there thinking, like, there's no way that he still has it up, but he was being patient with it. And then also, on every RP, he was hitting like a double or triple stun off of the RP. He wasn't getting killed online, other than in the fight where they all 10 bought back. Everybody died in that one.
Jenkins, I think it was you who was saying on the desk earlier that the key thing is obviously stacking your team fights. And T1 were able to do that in the early game, although there were some team fights where it was really hard to tell who actually benefited the most. And I really wanted to take a look back at one of those team fights. It was around the 27-minute mark. What the hell is happening here? Who wants to talk me through this one? Aoi?
Sure. So, I mean, Faith Beyond, he has a really quick reaction to 𝙈𝙁 blinking in. They blow up the Doom, who's the highest net worth on the Doom, maybe second, and he doesn't get any spells off. However, T1, they're still so confident in this fight. They understand their net worth lead, and they still play out the fight like nice and slowly. When Dusa gets caught here, they don't leave her to die. They understand that they can get a turnaround here. I think the fight ends up being one of those weird fights where you don't really know which side won. I mean, they both sort of kill all of each other, which is apparently what happened this game. But 𝙎𝙁𝑑 supports 𝙎𝙁𝑑 supports did actually have to use buyback, which let T1 get the next roast pretty much uncontested. You just have more buybacks in them. I do want to say though, one thing. I've been playing Dota a long time. I watched a lot of Dota. I've never seen a 5v5 team wipe, 10 buybacks, and then 10 alive heroes.
Yeah.
That's never happened. I haven't even thought of that scenario because it's so unlikely to me.
My initial thought once that happened was like, okay, we get to see what would happen in Dota if buybacks were literally removed. Right. Like, how would teams play?
And you know what T1 did? They instantly went for a smoke.
Yeah, they went and fought.
I respect that so much because this is the TI stage. You're in the upper bracket against 𝙎𝙁𝑑. You have 0 buybacks. And your play is to go for the aggressive play, to go for the smoke. That's how you win games. You cannot hide in your base and be safe. You need a go-go.
They did have an Aegis though, so maybe no buyback, but they did have 1 extra life advantage.
True.
So every little bit counts, and they did have a substantial net worth advantage as well. And it also just felt like the net worth was kind of the X factor for T1, because despite being 20k down, you'd think that with Refresher Mag, Refresher Doom, Refresher Dusa, that every fight should be extremely straightforward for T1. And yet 𝙎𝙁𝑑 were still kicking and screaming in every single one of them.
Like the fight in the Roche pit where the Echo Slam comes in from from his Herb Shaker. And literally the entire Roshan pit looks like it's Christmas and everyone's bought Roshan offering.
Yeah, we were just sitting there thinking like, who got the Aegis? Who got the Aegis? Nobody got the Aegis. Eventually 23 picks it up. He snatched it, so somebody else got the last hit on Roche.
There's probably like 10k worth of items on the ground.
And then after the fight was over, all 3 of the other Roche items were on the ground or whatever. Like, I think there was a couple of bands of Elven skin, which also, by the way, 23 dropped during a fight.
Just to get his BKB off.
Yeah, just to get his BKB. He dropped a band of Elven skin on the ground because his backpack was full. That was the most insane game I've seen in a very long time, and it doesn't surprise me that it's T1, and it doesn't surprise me that it's T1 versus 𝙎𝙁𝑑. It really doesn't.
Watching this, no matter what happens in the 3rd game, whoever goes down to the lower bracket after this one, do you think they've got a chance to keep going, having seen this performance in this most recent game?
I think we're looking at 2 top 4 placements right now. Like, no matter what happens, someone's going to make a lower bracket run, and they're going to assassinate everyone on the way there. And we might see a rematch at some point of these 2 teams as well. Because as entertaining as yesterday was, I do feel like there was a more definitive winner, even though they also went 3-game series. This one felt competitive, and it's revenge from the Animator as well. We need to complete the story.
It felt like we didn't get to see 𝙬𝙀 really get activated on that Legion commander in the opening game. But his Magnus in this game, the initiation and just the gumption, the audacity, the gall, and the gumption. Jenkins, you had to be a little bit impressed.
Watching both of these games, my thoughts were like, okay, don't think this hero's OP. Don't think this hero's OP. Because I don't want to be that guy that just comes out on a panel and says a hero's OP. But Mag is goddamn OP. Like that hero, it's so hard to play against him with the Horn Toss, with the Yule Scepter, which we saw in the first game, with the reverse polarity, pulling people out. Even 𝙬𝙬, like going into the base, the reverse polarity and then not pulling anyone out. It didn't seem to matter because like the way people are playing this hero now is not really for the big team fights. It's like your Pudge, except good.
Oh, great.
You're just
There we go again.
repositioning people, and at TI, that matters a lot. If you think that you're structured, if you think that you have this wall, this formation of your team, Mag just breaks it. And he can farm so quickly that he can get items like Yules and BKB and Eon Disc where he can break it without just going in and dying. He can consistently break it.
And I know you specifically are pointing to RP, but for the longest time, Magnus's whole relevance in Dota was, can I have someone to empower?
The empower, yeah. That's
Do
like
I have
irrelevant.
a melee here? It's like a side factor at this
Doom
point.
Medusa, though that was the draft, Doom Medusa. Nobody,
That's not what you say.
Nobody takes the empower, but I don't even think the RP is the most important part about Mag. It's the skewer.
Yep.
Now you have you have his Q setup, which now slows and pulls in for that, so you can set up with that. There's a Yule Scepter, you can set up with that. There's Horn Toss, which... Was it you that said it removes the skill from... Or it was BSJ. He was so mad. He was like, Horn Toss removes the skill from Magnus. I think that was him saying it.
That was him.
It was definitely him.
He's got a lot to... Like, Skewer was one of the most skill shots of skill shots. And yeah, now Shockwave, you can see pulling them towards him. That used to not happen. He used to just deal damage. And RP was always a very, very delicate dance between that and Skewer. But... the hero's starting to find more relevance as we introduce these Aghanim's shards.
But the thing is, it's not like they took Magnus and took the skill cap and brought it down or something like there's still insane skill that you can have with this hero. It's like Invoker. There's like more pairings of things that you can do. You can Shockwave 3 people and skewer them back and then RP. You can RP into skewer. You can Horn Toss after the RP, before the RP. There's like a million different things that you can do with it. And we saw 𝙬𝙬 do basically every combination of them in that game.
So what you're trying to say is if you are going to be playing some pub games when you want to play Magnus, get them in before the end of TI10 because he's not going to be quite as fun to play once the players have had their say and spoken to Valve. Is that what you're saying? Have your fun while you can with Magnus, and you know what? T1 and Psg.Lgd, have your fun on this stage in the upper bracket while you can, because after game number 3, one of you will be going down to that lower bracket. But you know what? After that second match, or second game, I should say, this one is probably going to be yet another electrifying matchup. And I think that PSG, they're going to have learned a lot from that.
Did she call me BSJ?
I'm sorry. I called
that.
it PSG instead of LGD. I apologize.
It's in his contract.
I'm sorry.
You can never refer to him as BSJ.
No, I think...
I called them PSG. I didn't mention Brian's name.
Okay, thank God. I think what's really impressive is that despite Game 1 being so dominant from LGD, I feel like T1 were really able to suck LGD into their own pace of the game. I feel like this entire tournament, I've never seen LGD make a mistake like they did on mid, where they tried to jump on Medusa with Earthshaker. Sure, there was an Invis Doom there. Yeah, there's an Invis Doom there who clutched Doom. But that was like a weird engagement. That's not something that you usually see out of LGD. And I think T1, they might have figured something out with the scale. I'm not too sure like who will have the better read going to this game, because generally the counter to these 3 slow cores would do like play really fast, high tempo, take the towers. LGD, they won all their games, but they're actually one of the slowest teams at taking their enemies' towers this tournament. I think it was like 12 minutes or something.
Yeah, and also I think they got intel on how LGD likes to play with Terrorblade. They showed it off in Game 1. The dynamic was very similar here. They had Xingqiu on Snapfire, so you had these surrounding staff around the Terrorblade to be like, okay, you know, he wants to man fight, and this time they served up a Medusa to go head-to-head, and they had more enabling the Medusa than they did the Morphling in Game 1.
And I think it was a lot what Aoi was mentioning during the first panel, where there's like poke and maybe not so much disengage, but there was a lot of like eventual really strong team fight. But to me in this game, like maybe there's no like damage poke, but there is like opportunity poke where like 𝙬𝘖 on Magnus was just looking for skewers, and there were certain times where we saw him hilariously, blink into the enemy base and then, fail to skewer out. But it's like that's what he was going for the entire game, was just looking for these like random opportunities to basically break 𝙎𝙬𝑑's wall.
Well, while we wait for the draft to kick off, we are gonna check in with Psg.Lgd because we wanted to have some words with their captain. Oh, in fact, no, you know what? We actually spoke to Y earlier. So you know what? I'm obsessed with Y. But I'm going to be less obsessed with Y and more obsessed with 𝙬𝘖 after we find out what he had to say earlier this year.
The season for T1 may have ended on a high note, but it certainly didn't start out that way. The team was looking forward to finally attending a LAN event with the Singapore major in March. But their captain, 𝙬𝘖, was suddenly unable to go. T1, playing with a stand-in, failed to even make the main event. Like many other teams, the transition to in-person events proved challenging. But for 𝙬𝘖, he says it's where he really thrives.
I did not play LAN for 1 year, and as a player, I really like to compete at LAN because the feeling is kinda unexplainable. Unlike the online, it's like you can like just chill, watch some anime while playing tournament, something like that. But on LAN, you can feel that you cannot slack off or play like lazy.
How have you had to change your leadership style as a captain with everything being so different?
I think our coach helping me to improve as a captain. And at first, he's the one drafting for us. When the drafting also come back to me, I feel that I kind of step up a bit to perform well and to draft well for my team.
And when did you step back in to draft for your team?
DPC Season 2, the opening game. It's like my captain told me, "Hey, 𝙬𝘖, do you want to draft?" Something like that. I know my draft is good, better than March. Nah, just kidding. No, just kidding.
With 𝙬𝘖 drafting, T1 went on to finish first in Season 2 in their region, giving them a direct invite to the ANA Major. And to earn enough points for a spot at TI-10, all they had to do was win one match.
Me and March keep talking to the boys that don't think about the TI and the result. Just keep thinking about the game. Don't focus so much like on TI. If we go to TI, you can think about the TI, right? But if we fail on ANA Major, there's no direct invite for Southeast Asia.
Well, they won that match and kept a solid run that took them to the lower bracket finals, ending with a loss to EG that was so close it hurt. Still, after everything T1 went through this season, 𝙬𝘖 had led his team to a spot at TI. Let's pretend you're in the grand finals of TI-10. Who do you want to play?
I want EG.
Why?
Because I want to see like so many Southeast Asian player on the grand finals. If EG and us is like on grand finals, we can put like 7 Southeast Asian players on one grand finals, and I think it's kind of good for our region. This is my 5th TI, I think, and most of my TI memories is like after upper bracket, we lose, then lose again. So if I'm gonna go back, I really want to raise the ages as a player, as a captain. My goal for TI is like keep grinding and do my best.
And we have no doubt that both teams are going to be trying to do their best in this third and final game of the series in the upper bracket. It is Psg.Lgd versus T1.
T1 versus Psg.Lgd. Game 3.
Welcome to the last draft of the first series of the day. My name, as always, 𝙈𝙀𝘿𝘄𝘼, joined by 𝙎𝙁𝑑, joined by Lacoste. And while we're analyzing the draft, sometimes it doesn't tell the full story.
We can see in this one, like, no doubt about it, as we expected, getting panned in the first phase because he was causing so much issues.
They made nothing to say look a week, which is one of the rarest times I think I'll ever say that, because he is a pretty flawless.
看大牛加杀啊！O Toroi que acabou passando, não sei se eu comentei agora também, é Snap. Snap tá aberto na pool, podem fazer a
Priority up to number 1. ET takes a little bit.
10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Radiant team ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Dire team ban. Radiant team ban. Ten seconds remaining. Dire team ban. Ten seconds remaining. Radiant team ban. Dire team ban. Dire team pick. Radiant team pick.
Storm Spirit.
Seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Radiant team pick. Lion. Dire team pick. Destroyer. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. 10 seconds remain. Dire team ban. Seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Radiant team ban. Seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Dire team ban. Seconds remaining. Radiant team pick. Seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Dire team pick. In the spirit. 10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Choose your hero. Prepare for battle.
You blew it! Told you a storm was coming!
Hajar.
30 seconds to battle.
Stand by.
救大哥，救！
你这么菜的队友不会生气吧，哥哥啊？
I want a nice, clean fight.
powerful to claim.
You've just achieved first blood. Thanks and have fun.
Tips.
Sure.
Which
do
are available.
All right. Going to the menu. First
the beauty
of Adam. Missed coin.
You guys can't see, but he actually opened up the Heroes tab. You can see everybody's really happy either with the pause being unpaused now or Cinderin stop talking. Not sure. We'll have to find out another time on this segment of Cinderin +1 or -1 depending on your perspective again. Wyatt, Thunder Strike from 𝙈𝘆𝘆. Looks like Carl's going to secure the water rune for himself. Already queuing up the Orchid, which obviously no big surprise. Pretty much the standard. As you can see, Zephyr preventing Nothing to Say from getting a second water rune, so Carl gets a double whammy this time around.
Yeah.
And look at the CS, 26 and 7 to the 22 and 4. Talked to, I mean, the draft panel kind of discussed that matchup overall. Do you think that, I mean, Ember seems to be doing pretty decent, all things considered.
And it's I would say it's a slightly Storm-favored lane overall. Not by a lot. What Ember's going to do is exactly what Nothing to Say is doing here. Oh, why? Actually gets the spike.
Actually runs right back into it. Hex to follow. TP is going to be canceled because that is a super easy kill for �12𝐺D.
Kill. Yeah, so what Ember does in this lane is we're going to see a glimpse. I think Faith Beyond will be okay here.
I've never heard that before. Okay, you might be right. They're out of mana, and surely he can't
die. You're right. It was very close. He only had 310 health left, Suns fan. That was very close.
Is very tanky.
The crowd goes wild.
I mean, he's
sick escape.
He's part rhino. I'm pretty sure that's the lore. So very thick skin. Very thick boy.
So what I was gonna say was Ember against Storm in mid. What Ember will generally do is he will max out Sleight of Fist and try to harass the Storm back that way. The problem with going max Flame Guard is that you can still get it broken too easily by Storm's Overload and Static Remnant charges, and at that point you have stifled your ability to go and gank other lanes by maxing Flame Guard over Sleight, which is clearly the stronger offensive build in most situations. So I do like to see this build coming out from Nothing to Say, and yeah, that kill from Lion helps a lot. As far as T1 goes, they're still doing great on CS, both top and mid, but bottom.
Echo Stomp's not going to connect. Ame gets a couple right clicks off on Cuckoo, which is always scary when you're a big bad bear. It's top lane. Oh, why? Looks like he's going to try to deny himself, but 23 Savage with, the Arcana kill streak. Good to see.
Very good.
They're making progress on that. Probably has like 1,000 more games to go before unlocking it.
Very good news for T1 here that 23 Savage is top net worth on Spectre. This hero is crazy when it is ahead. I want to say, just as a gut feeling, maybe one of the highest win rate carries of all time when it's top net worth at like minute 20. It's just crazy how well Spectre scales in a lot of games.
Well, to be fair, it did used to farm really poorly.
Yeah.
So if it was top net worth at that point, then that's a little different story than nowadays.
It's still a lot worse than most carries at farming though, right? Like it's still slower. The Falcon Blade build up and the
jump in from Storm, but it looks like Cuckoo wants to play as well. Trying to turn this around on the bear. Beautiful impale from Y, but results in the same ending, which is Ame Dunzo. Y gets destroyed as well. Double kill for Nothing to Say. It's going to be a back and forth action as 23 Savage pops the wand. As Nothing to Say still has the Flame Guard applied, and another beautiful Sleight of Fist as a triple kill for Nothing to Say. Looked really bad for LGD.
Yeah, that was a great
Nothing to Say, great rotation.
T1 with a very, very good one there, but damn, that Spirit Bomb from Nothing to Say, triple Remnant I think that was, into 4 heroes, double damage rune and Sleight. Ooh. It's just not fair, you know? Why do you have to have a double damage too?
He's just better.
Raidmon.
Yep, Shockwave is up. Doesn't have a ton of mana afterwards though. So we'll just throw it out for good measure as Ame has now made his way to the top lane.
This is going to give Nothing to Say a lot of value. Obviously getting those 3 kills, he's now 4-0. He's going to grab himself Phase Boots as well as Orb of Venom. Going to finish Orb of Corrosion soon, as they're trying to get him this bottom rune, which could get a little dicey.
Yeah.
It's top.
And it is top indeed. It's an illusion, so mostly just for filling up the bottle purposes. Not a ton of kill potential.
Carl should still be careful. Like, this hurts. If he gets caught in a stun chain and there's a little bit of damage coming out from Nothing to Say in addition to just a Sleight, he can still die from 2/3 to just the Lion Ember here. He's going to respect it and go jungle.
So you see 23 Savage in the jungle, farming to his heart's content. So Aghanim Scepter will be the choice after the Falcon Blade. That seems to be the standard. We talked about this before, but before this tournament, we saw some Echo Saber. Like there's some differences between builds. We see some Orchid as well, but for the most part, we're seeing this same one that this game will have again. But the Aghanim Scepter just seems to be super strong with that 30-second cooldown, single target Haunt Cinderin, aka Shadow Step, whatever you want to call it.
I do want to point out an interesting detail here from LGD, as we are seeing the mid push, but Xingqiu has a really early level 6. He was level 6 minute 8 on the IO, and he was playing bottom lane alone against the creep wave, while Ame was alone top against the creep wave. So these two heroes were not playing together, and they were just still managing to maximize, finding farm in both lanes at the same time. And now this mid tower, uncontested. Really surprised that T1 didn't try to do something here with their Elder Titan and maybe Veno defending, but they just willingly give up the biggest tower in the early game.
Well, let's talk about Veno. I mean, Cuckoo, we're going to see the Earth Spike come out first, and he relocate on the way with Nothing to Say. RP from Faith Beyond, down goes Spectre. Big kill for LGD, as Carl looks to be at least trying to clean up the residual damage here. So it ends up being a trade of supports after the fact, with a big kill, obviously, on the Spectre for 23 Savage.
And they relocate back to mid, and they're going to find more. Maybe Carl.
Yeah, he gets caught with the searing chains. He's completely surrounded. Not a ton of mana. The Wind cannot get to the low ground. Shockwave and completely surrounded. But Echo Stomp is there. Nice dodge from Nothing to Say. Another kill goes his way, Cinderin. This is quite possibly the best start that I've seen him have this tournament. This is God tier status right now.
Yeah, he's had enough of playing DP. Now it's time to go.
It's like, all right, we gave you. I mean, do you know if the DP, the one that they lost against Secret, was that the only other time they picked DP?
I don't know if it was Nothing to Say playing it or Faith Beyond. I actually don't remember, but I know they played it in that game. I don't know if it was the only other DP game they've had.
Gotcha.
He's popping off in this game, that's for sure. Cuckoo is next.
Find Cuckoo and the finger of death from Y. LGD clicking on all cylinders in this game.
This is looking scary if you're a T1 fan, just because of how insanely fast a game like this can go with an Ember having this kind of a start. You know, it's not just Ember, he's playing with IO.
Yeah.
So you get that extra mana funnel all the time. It might not seem like much to get the attack speed from Overcharge, but all of it just adds up, right? It just compounds over time.
We have a Haunt with a Static Storm. This is going to be a big kill for T1, and they find ame.
Nothing to Say has arrived. He's too late.
ame has had a pretty good game up until this point. Talk about it in just a moment to see if more action comes here as Zephyr. Nothing to Say has the Empower. There's the Searing Chains. Trying to dodge the Echo Stomp, but will not be able to. Zephyr with the TP out. So, all right, forget about this last kill for a second here, Cinderin. Cuckoo, Venomass, you talked about one of the big reasons. I know it's not the only reason, but one of the big reasons you pick it in this game is because Ursa has a hard time against it. They just switched lanes, and ame has had a really good game in terms of farming, all things considered. Was this worth the Veno pick, or is there still more to come that we should look forward
I think this is already concerning. They would have probably liked it to go better than this, but the Veno against Ursa is just a lot different when there's an IO, I think. It's just you have so much more regen coming through.
Yeah.
So that extra bit of move speed and overall mobility in lane really helps. Oh, Nothing to Say. He might just kill Whitemon here, honestly.
The glimpse, but the Remnant is out, stuck inside the kinetic field, but does not matter. Nothing to Say, completely dominating. 7-0, and this is going to open up space for ame to get inside the Roche pit. Has the Morbid Mask, going for the Diffusal Blade. And this should be a freebie. 12.5-minute Roche. Depending on how long this game goes, Cinderin, we might see 10 Roches. Can we get to double digits? Ever.
That was a very random comment. I don't know what to say to that. Why are you suddenly thinking of 10 Roches?
I don't know. I get really excited by Roche. I feel like he's underappreciated by the masses. His lore is very interesting.
All right, you get 10 seconds to sign a new drop from Roche after Refresher Shard and Axe.
Bloodthorn.
That's not a new design, you're just putting an item on it.
That's what's already being put. All right, Refresher droppings.
Okay, what
it's
do they do?
It's like a worse version of a shard.
Why would the 5th one get that?
But then if you get all 3, Ags, Shard, and Ag Shard dropping, it becomes Exodia.
Okay.
Which is like a Mega Ags.
Okay.
A Gaben level spell, if you will.
You cannot complain about any of my suggestions ever again.
Great. Spirit Vessel on Cuckoo.
I can't do worse than. I actually can't come up with anything worse.
Well,
so.
That's what we thought about the Aghanim Scepter on Lycan. But Slax is a genius. So Cuckoo has a Spirit Vessel Cinderin, but like you said, I mean, he doesn't have any charges. That's definitely an issue. Hasn't really been participating in a ton of fights right now.
Bottom tower looks to fall.
Oh, Carl might be in some trouble. Do they have the damage? Absolutely. With the Finger of Death and the nice setup continuing to happen with Nothing to Say's chains.
Again, Carl's voice line usage is just not like. You just got burst. Why do you love it? I think
I'm pretty sure he just randoms whatever voice line.
Yeah, he uses whatever. Yeah, of course. It's just funny that there seems to be an emerging pattern of Carl's voice lines just not necessarily fitting the situation. I guess that's a good way of keeping morale high, you know, laughing at your own misery a little bit.
Yeah.
That one fits a lot better.
Yeah, that's
I like
a little better. Yeah. He had to search for. He probably just binded that now just to make sure he could use it.
Did you say binded?
Bind it.
Oh. It's just like, do I have to lecture you about verb inflection once again now?
All right, Diffusal picked up by ame. I'm just going to ignore. That's an old school one, actually. Going to ignore your insult again.
Yep.
Nothing to say.
You never learn from it.
Just creating so much pressure for T1.
It's going to be a smoke move here, I think.
This would be if they could find Nothing to Say right now. This would be pretty big because he's getting close to finishing BKB.
See why? But
yeah, the Plague Ward's giving that vision. Spectral Dagger comes out.
Nice little detail with the perch creep, by the way. Will be very helpful against 𝙎𝘶.
Yep, that's true.
They have the little Satyr Banisher is going to follow them around here, being controlled by Faith Beyond, or, well, whoever he has shared control with, of course.
2.5 minutes with the Aegis. I mean, what is 𝙎𝙬𝑑, what's their timeline here? This is a lineup that wants to finish earlier, I would assume. They don't want Spectre to get ultra late game?
It depends. Like, if you have this strong map control and you keep pushing all the lanes and you find kills frequently, I don't think your lineup is severely worse late game. You have 2 melee cores that use Empower, BKB piercing stun from the Magnus.
Yeah.
Lion is always going to be a late game wildcard hero because of how strong disables just are, and IO one of the best late game supports too. So I'm not really too I don't think 𝙎𝙬𝑑 should be too concerned with it. On paper, Storm Spectre look amazing. 𝙎𝘶 often falls off kind of at some stages, and unfortunately for 𝙬𝙬, he hasn't really ever had a massive impact in the game yet.
Yeah, it just hasn't been any fights yet, which, to be fair, that hasn't really been an actual team fight. It's been kind of this scattered. I mean, nothing to say, just all over the map, essentially, with the IO support.
Yeah, and he has the BKB Orb of Corrosion, right? So you can really tell that 𝙎𝙬𝑑 have an understanding here of what is the one problem we have is if we get caught by spells. Yep. So a lot of the times, Embers in this position will not go for the straight BKB, but get like a Maelstrom or another build-up item. But it feels like he has enough damage with just the Empower and the Orb of Corrosion, and with this BKB, he's honestly invincible. If he gets it off, he's never dying while that's running to this lineup. So, kind of enter God mode there.
And with this Aegis, I mean, I'm guessing there's no pressure from 𝙎𝙬𝑑 to try to use this Aegis in any specific way. Just continue with map control, try to get some objectives, but you don't have to go ham, so to speak. Of course, Spectre is getting close to Ags here. You think they're going to try to do something with this 40-second timer?
Maybe if they find a fight bottom and the relocate here, they could consider diving tier 1, but I don't think tier 1 is even going to give them a fight for that tier 1 tower. I think it's just going to concede it here. They know that they're in a very disadvantageous position right now, and once Aegis is out, you have a little bit more of a clear plan, I think, for the fight. 𝙬𝘶 going to get caught top.
Yep, 𝙬𝘶 gets off the Earth Spike, and 𝙬𝑚e doing the, although �jinQ takes it. All right.
They still have really okay.
Nothing to say. Pops a BKB. TP's coming as well. 𝙬𝙬 gets off a Gale. Not really going to hit anything. But they, I mean, that's actually pretty big. They force out that big BKB charge for nothing to say.
That was a great disengage from T1. They get the BKB, they back off. They also got the relocate, and the Aegis also expired there. So, nicely done. Kind of weaving around the fight, but at the same time also a little bit concerning that you have this lineup and you feel like you can't fight, right? Yeah. You really want to fight with these heroes. Oh, 21 Savage.
Boy.
He's being eyed up by 𝙬𝘶.
Yep, there's the Earth Spike to start things out. 𝙬𝘶 on the way. And just going to burst him down. Finger of Death gets the finishing blow.
Didn't even get a chance to cast the dagger. He just died in the stun hex combo. Ursa has so much damage.
Yeah, 𝙎𝙬𝑑 on the same page again. And I think more than any other team in this tournament, it just feels like they make so little mistakes that...
And so few.
So few mistakes. The fact that a non-first English language person is correcting me really makes this sad.
First English language person, yes.
Oh, God.
It is I.
End me simply.
Yes,
I don't remember what I was saying anymore. What the hell is it? Oh, they don't make many mistakes.
True.
So the opposing teams haven't really found much of an avenue to try to take advantage of something like that. It just feels like they're, I don't know. I don't want to say invincible because obviously they lost game 2, but even with that massive, massive disadvantage they had in terms of net worth, they still made it a game.
Yeah.
Which is really surprising.
Yeah, there's going to be a nice
Carl jumps in, all right.
Faith Beyond.
The Aghanim Scepter being used for 23 Savage. So still has Haunt online.
And they instantly smoke again. I actually think Faith Beyond saw that. I don't think the vision had faded just yet when they blew that smoke. So this means Psg.Lgd have the information, and they can make a very clear call about where the smoke is meant to hit, right? There's not like, there's one option. So they're already positioning themselves very well. You can see they're just standing still on both Lion and Ember, covering the angles, waiting for T1 to try their luck, but T1 seems like don't really fancy that smoke too much after all. kind of just not going to do anything with it, except did they even place any vision with it? I don't think so. So kind of ultimately just a full-on wasted smoke of deceit there, unfortunately. Aside from the fact that, well, LGD were standing still for a little bit as well. So you traded off looking at each other.
The good thing about that kill, though, is T1, they finally have some Spirit Vessel charges in there, and so something to use against.
That's true.
The 𝙎𝙊𝘾𝘄𝘼, who he does have a mech. We'll see if he gets something to try to dispel. I mean, he could go Greaves, I guess, to try to dispel the Spirit Vessel charge. Not sure if that's even in the
more than likely
consideration
going
right
Lotus,
now.
I think, if he wants that. It's probably...
What happened to
better
Greaves? We're not seeing that nearly as much these days.
Yeah.
Can't remember what the nerf was now. Putting you on the spot, Sid.
What are Greaves?
That's true. All right, Faith Beyond and company smoked up. You can see 𝙈𝘇 has just picked up his BKB. As speaking of that, Nothing to Say pops his second charge. So another good bait from T1. All right.
Didn't get it.
Yep, no skewer this time. And we are at the 21-minute mark, so Shard can be picked up for anybody in the game. And you obviously saw the impact of that, even though they ended up losing for Faith Beyond with that Magnus.
And even though this move from Psg.Lgd doesn't really get them any kills, they get control, right? They bully the enemy team out of this outpost area. They start setting up for Roche control, which is going to spawn right now. Why we'll see that. And I think, okay, this is a really crucial moment for T1. This has to work. If they lose the second Roche with no contention, they're not in a good position at all.
Yep. And that shard, almost certainly, if they get it, will go to 𝙈𝘇. One of the best shards in the game for sure.
Very, very good.
This is the beauty of having a Venomancer. You get that vision with the Plague Wards in the pit. And obviously, Elder Titan, we talked about last game. So this won't be a freebie for LGD. But Roche is getting relatively low. Just waiting for the right time to pounce. Haunt still, literally every spell is online. So it's all about the timing and execution here. The Haunt, nope, that was the Shadow Step.
Nice job from Zephyr there. He actually, and from 𝙬𝘃, they distracted 𝙈𝘇 so long that the Fury
and there's the RP. Can they burst him in time? Why? Trying to layer absolutely again. Buyback is available for Karl, though.
Yeah, it doesn't matter that the Fury Swipe stacks fall off if you kill the enemy mid. You can just go again.
Continuing to try to dodge these really annoying Echo Stomps. Will they force the buyback, or will it just be given up? Looks like they're just giving this up. So second Roche the way of LGD, and 𝙈𝘇 with the shard, which he's not actually putting in his inventory yet. There we go.
Maybe they want to give it to Ember?
No, this one's way too good. This is
very,
top 5 shard
good.
in the game.
It is very
Every time he overpower or Earth Shocks, he will get an enrage for a second and a half.
Yeah, I remember when the shard came out, you rated this the absolute best, I think.
Well, it was 2 seconds or more. I can't remember.
Was it 2 seconds?
It was better before, yeah.
That's crazy. I think the cooldown of Earthshock might have also been lower then.
Yeah, they nerfed that aspect as well.
Okay.
So there have been some slight nerfs, of course, but still extremely strong. I mean, just being able to preserve your ult. Because so many times we see Enrage popped, and then everybody backs away and tries to kite Ursa, whereas you have more options now.
It's kind of... I'm looking at the scoreline right now, right?
Wait for it, Cinderman. Static Storm after the Yules. All right. Looks like they're going to try. Well, they actually use the Shadow Step, but Whitemon gets out in time, just barely. So they force out a ton of TPs for LGD. Nicely done from T1, baiting that.
Yep.
Of course, it did cost Static Storm.
A big rotation.
Sure, all is well.
Isn't it weird for you to see Ursa so far ahead on the net worth with 0 kills? I feel like that's such an uncharacteristic Ursa game nowadays.
Power time, I guess.
And power and just the overall, you know, they got Roches, they got towers. I was like, I wonder what his KDA is. He's 0-2 at 4. 𝙈𝘇's just been farming a crazy amount because of the map control they've gained, but the kills, more or less all of them going on Nothing to Say.
Also, I picked up Fey Grenade. That's actually not too bad. Gives them the extra movement speed, and obviously any additional procs of your passive is going to be very nice to have, especially at range for a melee here that can get kited so easily.
Karl is setting up top, but this play doesn't really exist. He can't solo the Ursa. He's just going to leave.
Yeah, and this lead is just continuing to balloon. So 8K now for LGD. So you can see their win probability at 73% currently. But T1, I mean, they have options. We talked about the high ground defense of Elder Titan. Spectre is obviously god tier late game. Same with Stormtree. The only question mark really in my mind is Venom, because we just haven't seen a ton of this hero in this patch. Is Faith Beyond? Shadow Step was there, but...
And let's keep in mind, we saw a game of IG versus Spirit with what Spectre Storm can do when they're doing well. If you do equalize this game somehow, there are so many ways of finding kills with these two heroes together. Once the Spectre gets the Aghanims, which he obviously has, but they're just unfortunately too far behind to really take initiative right now.
Yeah, Whitemon spotted out. Easy kill. Glimpse doesn't even break the tether. That's LGD getting whatever they want. So still 3 tier 2 towers existing in each respective lane, so they're gonna have to get through those. And in terms of their tower push is not good for LGD. That is one saving grace for team when you talk about high ground defense, plus the fact that you don't have a real tower hitter per se.
Yeah, it is going to take a little bit long. They will get a siege creep in here now, though. If they have Glyph, they could keep it alive.
Cuckoo, nothing to say, catches him. You can see Io relocating. Ame wants a kill, and he'll not get it. Nothing to say, taking that one. Although Ame did find one earlier, Synderen, so finally getting rid of that goose egg.
Goose egg?
Goose egg, yes.
Ah.
Huh. Radiant's top tower is
I haven't heard it called that much, I think.
I am a boomer.
Yeah. No doubt about that.
I always have some TPs top. 23 Savage. A lot of mobility for him, and it will be a difficult kill. Just popping the Shadow Step constantly. It's only a 30-second cooldown, of course. Why? Glimmer. Oh my god, if he
finds Savage here.
Oh, he glimpsed it for a second. Oh, the horsey. Not enough. Not fast enough. But he does force out Haunt, which is a huge deal.
That's true. That was not the Shadow Step that time.
He used the Shadow Step just to kind of harass and be annoying. But yeah, I'm sure he's regretting that one.
Bottom tower is under attack.
And now with Haunt down, well, I was going to say LGD is going to try to force something, but Aegis is running out now. And, I mean, even with that second Aegis, they haven't gotten a tier 2 yet. But still, not the end of the world, because they're just farming the entire map, and the lead is continuing to grow.
Yep.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Need to clean up these pesky plague wards that Cuckoo's going to keep placing. Like his itemization, by the way. I think the Halberd Force Staff is very good this game.
Yep.
You want that against Ursa. You need a repositioning tool, and you need the disarm. So.
Oh, we're going to see the jumping. Carl pops the BKB just to ensure a kill, but it's only wide for now. Trying to force out the BKB from nothing to say, but he's not going to get baited this time. 2 times is enough for him. Now that the Aegis is gone, we'll see if T1 want to try to force something, especially with the advantage in the 5v4 right now. But like you said, Cuckoo, I mean, his farm is pretty decent. I mean, Venos do get relatively farmed. Has the Force Staff in addition to everything else.
Glimpse.
Thank you. Glimpse.
Just felt like saying it. Heard the sound.
Yep.
What did he actually glimpse?
He glimpsed Magnus. Oh, all right. Orchid onto nothing to say. Do they have the damage to bring him down? Nope. That's the BKB charge again. No mana at all for Carl. He's going to be brought down in quick succession. And it looks like Elder Titan is next on the list. LGD showing their prowess right now. And nothing to say, just continuing to destroy everybody in his wake. Cuckoo will be the 3rd death in this engagement. LGD winning this game in spades, and they're not remotely close right now.
T1 just ultimately, they run out of patience. They just really want to try something, so they go on the Ember, but that's not enough in the tank. And again,
23 Savage. Faith Beyond's going to run into him. There's the Yule setup. Has the RP if he needs it. Manta's pop, but here comes Ame with the right clicks. Into the horn toss. Down he goes, not even needing RP. Look at the ultimates on the top. They all have them, other than Io.
Good.
Which
Thank you for correcting yourself.
Technically correct.
Proud of you.
Thank you.
I'm proud of you for specifying that.
Thank you, Synderen. I just want to make you proud one day.
Yeah. You're definitely improving right now.
Thank you.
Didn't take much, but...
Just not screwing up is an improvement as they, LGD, finally get a tier 2 tower. And we can see that next Roche, we won't know for another minute when it will spawn. And Faith Beyond still ready to go with the RP. Has nothing to say, is 9-0-6 has the Aghanim Scepter, obviously the BKB, and I believe that's a refresher that he's working on
close
next.
to that one too. His just raw burst against any hero that isn't BKB'd, he can...
Oh, horn toss from Faith Beyond. 𝙈𝘆𝘆 is dead.
Now he was Yuled. Now he's dead.
He's dead. Is this a technically correct joke again? Oh, the bash! Oh, he's actually gonna get him! 𝙈𝘆𝘆 just beating the absolute crap out of Carl. Bash proc for the win as 𝙬𝙬 getting caught by nothing to say, and this is turning into a rout. You can see the haunt coming through, but it's not really gonna happen, Cinderin. Venomancer is gonna end up being cleaned up here. Actually, haunt was not used. Where were those illusions from? Was that the Manta? I have no idea.
I think he shadow stepped in,
shadow
Manta
stepped
and
out.
left.
Yeah, okay.
Well,
either way, this is
we believe we have a DPC term for a game like this.
Shellacking?
Say the thing.
Gaben level shellacking?
Thank you.
Okay.
See, you impressed me.
You know
what I meant.
There's 3 levels to the Gaben level shellacking. Did you know that?
Oh, there's more levels.
There's just regular Gaben shellacking. Then there's Gaben's mustache shellacking, and then the top of the top is Gaben top hat shellacking.
Top hat?
Yes, I think the OG EG, the OG Secret
qualifies.
Game was definitely a Gaben top hat shellacking.
Top hat.
Yeah.
I want that as an emote so bad now. All of a sudden, Gabe wearing a top hat.
I'm patenting that one, by the way.
Please have that. Thank you.
I'm patenting or copywriting Gaben's name for my for myself.
I think you'll get away with it.
He seems like an easygoing guy. Yeah. Satanic now online for 𝙈𝘆𝘆. Already seeing the basher come to work. That was literally a kill because of a bash.
Yep.
Into the Roche pit they go. That's going to be a refresher shard Roche, which that will almost certainly go to Faith Beyond. Although you could have the double refresher for nothing to say.
Double, not 100.
And down he goes. He actually pops the BKB. Huh. I guess he didn't want the haunt in to steal all the goodies. Makes sense.
RP.
Oh, I hear the RP. This is for 23 Savage. Into the right clicks we go. Into the grave, 23 Savage goes.
All right, I have a bit of a trivia here, Shannon. Okay. Let's see how much closely you've been paying attention. When was the last thing something good happened for T1 in this game? Is it A, 10 minutes ago, B, 15 minutes ago, C, 20 minutes ago, or D, 25 minutes ago?
I'm gonna say 10.
Okay, I am checking. The last dot on the... It's about 10 minutes ago.
Thank God.
They killed Lion.
Thank God.
Call.
Thank you.
Call.
Yeah, this is a rough one for T1.
Absolutely annihilated.
But keep in mind, this is not the tournament line on, not the tournament life on the line.
True.
If T1 were to lose this, they will face up against Alliance, and 𝙈𝙀𝑑 will continue on to play. I believe it's the winner of Vici versus VP, which, regardless of that outcome, if that ends up being the case, will be a really hype one. BKB now online for Faith Beyond. And onto the high ground, potentially we go here soon for 𝙈𝙀𝑑. Swift Blink next on the list for 𝙈𝘆𝑆's Ursa. So you can see, still not a whole lot of building damage, but they can kill heroes like none other, Cinderin.
Yeah, I'm trying to find a solution right now for T1 for how to approach a fight. So since they can't deal damage to the BKBs, you need a way to poke these 3 BKBs the enemy cores have, reset, and then re-go. I think...
A tool to teach.
middle tower has fallen.
Like a blight, I return.
Dire's middle barracks are under attack.
They're unstoppable?
I doubt
Dire's middle barracks are under attack. Dire's middle barracks have fallen. Dire's middle barracks have fallen. Dire's top tower is under attack.
Captured in the flame.
That was unreal.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Nothing touches the heart.
Dire's top tower is under attack. Dire's top tower has fallen. Dire's top barracks are under attack. Dire's top barracks have fallen. Dire's top barracks have fallen. Dire's bottom tower is under attack. Dire's bottom tower has fallen. Dire's bottom barracks are under attack. Dire's Dire's bottom barracks are under attack. Dire's bottom barracks have now have Dire's middle tower is under attack. Victory!
They had to try to find some earlier fights to get value out of their Venno, but it was just Psg.Lgd making all of the good early moves, finding the picks. Especially nothing to say on the Ember, just set the entire tempo for the game.
Right.
His triple kill bottom is really what just opened up the map for them. And he took that advantage and just took it all the way to the bank. So top 6 now secured for Psg.Lgd. Like you said, they're going to be facing the winner of VP and VG Gaming.
Yep.
And now T1 dropped down to face Alliance, I believe tomorrow.
Sure, we'll pretend that you're correct on that. I don't know why you would
Always
say
right.
something that you're not 100% sure about. You should preface that you're not sure
Tomorrow
about it ahead of
or
time.
the day after.
Either way, they'll face Alliance at some point in the tournament. Could be tomorrow indeed, but let's see what the panel has to say about this absolute stomp of Game 3.
Thank you very much, guys. Yeah, order has been restored by Psg.Lgd. I think the second game might have been a little bit of a wake-up call, Wowie.
Yeah, I think so. And